Yeah, so how was, I guess we can see that.
We are live. Finally. Let's pop out that chat. We are going to be doing a special transmission today because we are in a very interesting situation. Um, we should update everybody on what's been going on. This is going to be a special emergency transmission of real news. Real news quarantined. We are stuck here inside our own homes, as many of you are because of the coronavirus. Our radio studio has been locked down. It is completely shut down, and we also cannot even go on campus, well, except for a few hours today. Penn State has shut down for the next 3 weeks. Our spring break has just ended, and we were going to do this transmission sooner, but I grabbed some audio equipment, which doesn't sound like I did, but that's going to be fixed soon. It'll be perfectly fine. Thank you, DICTATOR Phil, for that. I really appreciate that, so we can have good quality audio while we're not in studio. And we're just gonna run down like all kinds of stuff about the coronavirus, all kinds of just whatever we come up with. Like we're gonna keep you guys up to date on everything that's going on. These might be daily, nightly, or whatever. Might be weekly. I don't know because it's constantly developing. And we're just gonna also give you guys a survival guide on how to survive this coronavirus. So I know you were alluding to this, Alex. So I guess I'll jump right into the fact that I did go to Penn State, grab some of my stuff. Wasn't too bad. Not that many people there. A few hours before me, there was a long line forming, but it seemed pretty good now, or when I went, and it was, you know, not not too bad. But the way Penn State's been handling this whole thing has been pretty messy. But Zoom classes start tomorrow. Maybe I'll get my Zoom transcript soon too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like, so I was looking online, I keep seeing these articles about it, and, yeah, from what it looked like, there was, like, lines, like, out, like, all the way to the basement, and it looked like more like a frat party, like, just line, like, people just sitting around there, but there's no drinks, so you'd think that this kind of is counterintuitive. Like, honestly, Penn State's response so far seems like it's been really kind of lackluster.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad
You know,
because I mean, I don't mind the 3 week suspension. That's actually not too bad. Some schools like Westchester University just completely canceled the entire semester, which is insane. But,
well,
dude, it's
here's
not,
here's the thing.
they're not handling like,
It's gonna.
yeah,
They're not coming back. You know, you realize that right now. They're not going to be bringing classes.
yeah, I'm afraid we're not coming
I mean,
back.
I'm fairly certain that's what's going on. They're not going to be bringing people back now. Like, it's not going to just blow over in like a week or two. Like, this is probably going to be at least until, like, I don't know, probably the soonest would be like maybe mid-April. Like, I doubt it though. It's probably gonna be sometime in May.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I could see them canceling even summer semester, and it'd honestly be better if they just canceled summer semester, let us come back for a few weeks, the seniors, juniors, they can finish their semesters, because we're kind of getting screwed over. If graduation's going to get canceled, there's going to be riots. Nobody's going to put up with that shit. Nobody's going to want to spend $120,000 and then not be allowed to fucking walk.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that over there. But like, how bad was it, like when you actually went in there? Was it like the pictures had it, where like there was a huge line and like people in close location?
A few hours before I went, there was a huge line I saw on, I think, the Collegiate or Onward State, but when I went there, it honestly wasn't that bad at all. It was just a few people, and it really wasn't that hectic. I mean, it honestly wasn't that bad at all. I got in, got out pretty smoothly.
Yeah, no, Yeah, because like you'd think if they're gonna be doing that, they should have just given people like the respirators if they're gonna be having people in that enclosed location.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I did worry about going up there was, am I going to contract it going up there because all these people are coming here? And they discourage people from coming, but that doesn't stop people.
Oh, wait, and here's like how long did you only have 30 minutes to get your stuff?
Okay, that was a lie, kind of. I think it was 30 minutes if you had to get like the extra key. So like if you didn't have your key, I think it would take 30 minutes, but it didn't take 30 minutes for me at all. I mean, well, it took me longer, but they didn't time me and say, "Oh, you got to be out of there in 30 minutes." They didn't do anything like that.
Or do you think they may have done that for a certain period of time and then they realized that was a bullshit idea and just was like, okay, just have at it, buddy?
It's possible. It's honestly possible
Because from
because
what I understand, that was an official communique from Penn State that you have 30 minutes.
yeah, that's what they said. That's not what they enforced at all.
So
Um,
I don't know why they tell people that if they're just gonna like not enforce something as arbitrary as that. Because here's the issue: like if you're gonna be basically shutting down the rest of the semester, whether or not you say it's 3 weeks, you want to get everything out of there. Because some people live, you know, a lot farther away than like Pennsylvania. Some people are coming from Alaska. Some people are coming from Texas, California, Washington State, and even like Washington D.C. Like several hours. So they're either taking a flight to get all this stuff, and especially if there's going to be issues over here, like where they're going to go back again. That's an unnecessary cost if you're only going to give them 30 minutes. But like at least they started changing that around when you had it. But like this thing just seems like they should have done it in a better way. Like give everyone specific times and days, and if it doesn't work for you, you can go and like send them a message. Like this should have been done during the spring break. Like they should have been doing this a lot sooner. And there's like a lot of other like effects, about this whole thing too. Like, they haven't even, to my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't heard anything about people with line cash, you know, and like meal points. What they're going to be doing about that.
no, the student, the Commonwealth student government alluded to something, but they really haven't done anything. It's, they were saying, well, this is really stupid. One of the things they said they might do is give you fall 2020 credits in exchange for your meal points and room money. How the fuck does that work for seniors?
Yeah, no, they should just give you like your money back, honestly. Because
Yeah.
like, why is it such a hard thing for them to go and like not give you your money back for meal points? Like, I could get it to a certain extent for other costs, but like meal points, that's basically just cash you're given the like it's just cash. It's not like other schools where they give you like X amount of meals. Like you're basically just injecting cash into Penn State.
Oh yeah,
Cash in, cash out should be pretty simple.
yeah. I don't get that either. It's like, how hard is that? Honestly, how hard is that?
And then not even just that too. It's like there's so many other things and they should have like been a lot more forthcoming. Like I think Pitt, they already said they're going to refund 33% of the semester
Oh
to
really?
their students. Yeah, like a lot of other colleges are already saying they're giving partial refunds, but like Penn State has so far not said anything about that because I guess they're still thinking it's going to blow over in like a week or something, which is complete bullshit.
I don't know if that's what they think, honestly.
Because
Well, I think they're thinking how can we rip as much money from these kids as we can. I'm reserved to think that this place is just a cash grab.
Oh, it
It's just
is.
a cash grab shack now. Like we're looking at this thing as like, oh, these guys are like the beacons of academic uh uh the beacons of the academic institution. No, this is a cash grab organization here.
I'm gonna
yeah, it's
switch
very
over
unprofessional.
1 second. I need to I'm gonna try switching over to this other Wi-Fi network, and it might run smoother.
Oh shit, you're running this off of Wi-Fi?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh.
Capable?
Not in my room technically.
Oof.
Mm.
What's your Wi-Fi speed?
No clue. This should be pretty good. Okay, this might be smooth. This might be smoother. Let me make sure. I think our stream's still going.
Is it?
I will check the YouTube. YouTube. We're troubleshooting today.
Yeah, no, I think what's you can go and do like check my like speed or whatever.com. They have something like that, like Okta.
Yeah, I've used that.
Yeah, I'd go and double check that real quick because they'll tell you what it is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, honestly, if you're gonna be like streaming shit, to the internet, you're gonna want to have top notch, not cuckboy fucking Wi-Fi if possible.
Yeah, we're trying it out. It's all good. Okay, I switched over and we're still live.
Well, you have two different. Like, which what? Like, out of curiosity, was that like? Were you running it off of a 2.4 gigahertz connection?
I have no clue. I'd have to look later. I mean, there's these. I don't get with Verizon. They have like these two connections. There's like Verizon Fios. It has my router name. Then there's one that says my router name dash 5G. I thought the 5G was faster, but we'll see.
Did you run the 5G one first?
No, I was running the other one. It sounds a little better right now.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would check that beforehand, but
Well, I can't even change it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, no. I would have checked. No, I would have just done a speed check on both.
Oh, to see which is faster.
You don't know.
I think that I've done.
No, yeah, if you don't know what it is, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, hey, I have two fucking Wi-Fi options. Let's see. There's.
No, I think the 5G is faster because I have done a speed test on them. I just don't remember the results. I just know that one was faster.
Is that 5G or 5 gigahertz?
I guess they mean 5 gigahertz. It's just a 5G. Like, that's exactly what it says.
So I don't know if your computer can take 5G signals from like fucking cell towers.
No, it doesn't.
Maybe it can. I don't know. I don't know if they have that in your area yet. Fucking 5G in your radiation.
Okay, Alex.
Speaking of, you hear, I don't know if we talked about this previously, but you hear what happened with Alex Jones.
Yes, he got DUI.
He was like within the limit and he got a fucking DUI.
Yeah,
like,
that's some
from what I
bullshit.
understand, he was like, how the fuck can that even happen? Like, that's some bullshit right there.
He got 0.07 on the breathalyzer.
Yeah, that's fucking within the limit. Like, that's what's scary. And people are like, oh, it's Alex Jones. Fuck Alex Jones. Well, no, dude. It might be Alex Jones now, and you might think Alex Jones is the devil. But if you can get a breathalyzer and like thrown in jail for being within the limit because the officer arbitrarily thinks that you're drunk, even though you're within the legal limit. Like, see, this is the thing. And like Democrats will talk about this, and most of the time they're full of shit. But for stuff like this, the fucking powers of the police just to go and like arbitrarily say, hey, you're X, and especially something like drunk driving, which, back like the 80s and like 70s and shit, it's like one thing, but like nowadays you get a fucking DUI, you're toast. It'll really fuck with you. So. If you're going to be giving away DUIs, it should at least be like people who are actually drunk. Like, not even talk like, and 0.08, it used to be like 0.10 back in the day too. So it's like he wasn't even within the stricter limits. So how the fuck can you say he's driving while intoxicated unless he was like, marijuana or something, or like heroin or a like non-alcoholic drug.
I'm not a fan of the DWI because I guess because the DWI, I guess it's like it's more of a subjective charge, like the DUI is if you go over the line. The DWI is like you're under the line but you look like you're impaired. Like you look like you're impaired. Like you have one beer or something like that, and you look like you're buzzed or whatever, which is really like I've never really liked that charge just because it's more it's more of a subjective, like up to the whatever the police the officer says it is. And I think that's maybe what happened with Alex Jones. And I think Alex Jones is like he's a drinker. I mean, it's not like, you know, .07, that's probably nothing for the guy. I mean, he could probably still function.
Well, he's within the
Why did
legal
they
limits.
pull him over?
What's the point of having a legal limit if you can just ignore it? You know, what's the point of having these laws if police officers
they wanted to create these they wanted to create these laws just so they could like make mandatory minimum sentencing, like for, you know, like a DWI. You know, they want to get people that drink. Like it's basically like that. Like it's a super liberal law.
Well, like, see, maybe back before like breathalyzers were actually like, you know, really useful. Like maybe back when breathalyzers were still new and people didn't really trust them, I could understand it. But these days, it's a fucking science. Like you can go and talk to any expert. Like like the alcohol breathalyzer. It's like very accurate these days. It's like alcohol in general. It's not like marijuana or like some other drugs where like different people react differently. It's like alcohol is one of the most like you know, intoxicants that'll get you, like, you know, you have this level on here and it'll react very similarly to everyone else, and that's why we have these limits, you know, like, or else what's the point of it? I mean, they've had these laws on the books, but they're so seldomly enforced that because most lawyers, and hopefully Alex Jones is a competent lawyer, can just get this shit thrown out pretty easily.
Yeah, a lot of the times. So. I think a lot of the times, even like some of my friends used to get DWIs, and they would just get, like, if they had a lawyer, they'd just get thrown out because of the subjectivity of what the officer said. It's like, well, how can you really gauge? How can you really gauge whether somebody's impaired or not? It's like, well, how do you, for you to gauge whether somebody's impaired or not, you have to be able to know what their normal behavior is. And I mean, I don't know, some of the stuff, and I mean, some of the stuff that that Alex Jones says is like, you know, oh, this guy must be intoxicated to say some of the silly stuff that he says.
No.
But it's like, that's Alex. But that's Alex Jones. I mean, so it's not like, well, what's normal behavior and what's impairment, and like, how was he driving? Like, how was he driving? Was he driving like swerving or whatever? Did he have I mean, we don't know. On one hand, we don't know enough about like the actual charge itself, like what the officer was saying on the report or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't really care what the fuck the officer was saying on the report, honestly.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm saying specific, like, from, you know, if like so say if Alex Smith, or damn, Alex I'm really off. Yeah, I know, right? I'm
Sounds
going
like a
old
connoisseur.
Old 49er quarterback. Anyway, no, if Alex Jones was like, you know, swerving on the road, or like, you know, or he just looked like he was like, or he just had the appearance like he was like slurred speech, glassy eyes, or something like that. But like, I would have to look at the report. Like, that would be something that I would say, oh, maybe he is impaired, but I'm not sure that that's the case with that. I just don't see that as being the case with somebody like Alex Jones, who's one, he's a big boy.
I saw him in person. He's a big boy.
Yeah. And like, and you really don't know. And then you're breaking it down with body composition too. Like, I've seen some chicks that sniff NyQuil and get all buzzed or whatever. Like, I would have to, like, there's not enough information. And if there's not enough information, you just get a lawyer and be like, well, this isn't enough. How do you know he was impaired? How do you know specifically that this guy was impaired? Oh, you don't? drop the charges. Which
Like,
I think I think that'll happen. I think if he gets a lawyer, like they'll drop these charges because it's not really.
Oh yeah.
Like honestly, just seems like a hit job. You know, like, the guy probably pulled this guy over. You know, maybe he was swerving or something, but you know, if he's within the legal limits, you know, some people like you don't know what he could have saw. Like maybe there was like an animal or something on there. Maybe there was another issue. But you know, whatever or maybe they ran his license plate because they can do that automatically and saw, hey, this guy's Alex Jones. You know, I don't like this guy. Let's go and start tacking him on with some charges over here because I don't like this dude.
I will steal a joke from a Telegram user who said that something along the lines of the only thing Alex Jones is under the influence of is the truth.
Yeah, maybe he popped one too many red pills that day, but you know you can't get DUI for that. He had too much like bone broth or chili or something.
He had too much of that Brain Force Plus.
Yeah, like man, they just keep ganging up on him because it wasn't even just that. Then like the Attorney General from New York was going after
Oh yeah,
him.
she was on like a tweet storm as to how like he was supposedly her claim was that on his show he was saying that his shit that he sells to like cure the coronavirus. And see, it's Alex, so I imagine he was just probably like, oh, use this water filtration system to get the coronavirus out of your water glass. The world was going to probably put it in there. Who knows? Just try it. It might work. You know, he was probably saying something like that. Like, he wasn't, like, they're trying to probably hit him with, like, false advertising or something, but it's like, it's Alex. He's probably, like, joking around or just, like, you know, I mean, come on. Like, the coronavirus is such a meme now that it's become a big reality, obviously. So, you know, I just, oh my god.
Yeah, it's probably like zinc pills and shit like that. Cause I see stuff like I think I was at Sheets and I saw they had this like zinc supplement. It's like, oh, it boosts your immune system.
Well,
It's
yeah.
probably something like that. Then they were like, oh, okay. You know, maybe this is what he's saying. It boosts your immune system, so it prevents.
And that's so subjective too. Like they're like, oh well, how do you know? How do you know it works? Well, how do you know it doesn't? Like, you know, that's
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And she's in New York. Does she really have jurisdiction over that? Somebody that's in Austin, Texas?
Fuck no.
And what the fuck are you doing trying to grab somebody in Texas anyway? You're in New York. That New York is a fucking shit show right now.
Yeah, get to work there.
Maybe you should try cleaning up your own closet before you start fucking bitching about other people.
See, this is what happens when everybody's self-quarantined and they don't know what to do and they're bored. So like, oh, let's fuck with Alex Jones on Twitter.
Oh, he's an easy target. You know, like he's someone on the right who's unapologetic. He'll go after people who, you know, honestly, no one else is going after right now.
Yeah.
And so they just think it's a good idea to dogpile on this dude, which, you know, it's wrong. It's basically bullying to a certain degree. They want to go and call Alex Jones this bullying dude. But like
Alex Jones did nothing wrong.
Yeah, no, he didn't do anything wrong.
The only thing he did wrong was shave his hair, honestly. That needs to change. And I think he even said, yep, I'm growing it back. Tried it out, doesn't work.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, yeah, like he said some stuff about the, you know, you can say what you will about him and the, you know, the part, like the school shooting stuff.
The Sandy Hook shit.
Yeah, and okay, you know, that's fair, but like just to continually dogpile on this dude
for one thing.
Yeah, that's not right.
When he's been right about other big stuff that nobody else was right about. I mean, yeah, he does get so unfairly treated. I will admit, I originally, back in the day, didn't like Alex Jones. I only saw the clips of him getting angry and thought he was crazy until I saw his Joe Rogan interview. And that literally red-pilled me on Alex Jones. I've never looked at him the same way ever again since then. That genuinely changed my view of him and InfoWars. I'm like, holy shit, he was right about this? That's where I learned about Bohemian Grove and a lot of the other like spying shit that he uncovered. Like, the dude is something else. Like, I'm going to miss him when he's gone. I mean, Owen Schroyer is pretty good, and I think he's going to be sort of taking up the reins once Alex is gone. But dude, no, Alex is iconic. You know.
Once he's gone, what's happening with Alex Jones? Is he like something going on with him?
Who?
Alex Jones, you said once he's gone, is he like
Well,
planning
when I
on?
mean when he finally, is done with this, I mean, he can't do it forever. He's even said that he thinks he's only got like 7 years left.
Yeah, no, honestly, he's an American entrepreneur. You know,
He's an innovator.
He is. He's created this thing that's like super popular, and he's created it essentially from the ground up.
And now he's had to create a video platform from the ground up, Band.video.
Yeah, people should honestly be taking notes because everyone wants to make their own like video platform and like survive like alternatively. And he's probably one of the great pioneers in actually managing to do that themselves.
I'm a pioneer. I'm an explorer. I like to eat meat.
Another one, like, look, and this is what I'm saying. Like, if you learn to know what you're doing, like a Alex Jones, like an Anthony Cumia, like a Joe Rogan, like you don't need anybody else. Like, if you really like, it's all about just learning about the equipment that you have to learn about. Like, make sure you get all the audio equipment, make sure you get your TriCaster and all that stuff.
That sounds like us.
Yeah, I mean, well, we still got to work on the TriCaster thing, but yeah.
Hey, we had one kind of in the studio before we got fucking quarantined. Speaking of quarantining, well, actually, speaking of InfoWars first, Owen Shorter did an interview with Milo recently. It's on Milo's channel. It's on Band.video. Great interview about the Roger Stone book he has coming out. I pre-ordered it. Still haven't gotten it yet. I don't know when I'm going to get it because I ordered it to my school address because I thought I'd be there. So, I might have to reroute somehow, but that's going to be a good read.
So what's going on with that? Like if you get mailed your school address, how's that getting back to you?
They have no clue. I asked the lady there. She said, we don't know.
Can't they just forward that?
Maybe, but that would cost money.
Well, they should fucking pay for it. Because, what if you get put on jury duty over there and you don't know?
Ooh, that would be fucked. I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to probably see if I can change the shipping address of that package, but I don't know what they're going to probably... I mean, I'm going to have to go back up to get the rest of my stuff anyway, so I'm going to pick up the rest of my mail probably is what's going to happen. And I think that's how they're going to tell people is like, hey, if you can come up, come get it. If you can't, tell us and we'll send it to you. That's what I would do if I were them. But
it's not that hard to get them to forward your stuff like I've done it before. Like you can go up to any post office and I think you can, if you talk to them, they can do something like that. And I don't even think I paid anything for it.
Oh, really?
Like if you move or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know this shit too well, but what did you have to do this when you moved?
Yeah, like I've done it before. Sometimes like that's their job, it happens, and they'll like send it to your new address. Like that's part of their job as post office people. This is why they're still in business.
This is why
they can't do the one fucking thing that they're meant to do. Then
Yeah.
So this is why we should get rid of the fucking postal service. And
I second that.
Possibly one of the reasons because of shit like that.
Fuck the post office. I mean, it's great, but it's so not great at the same time.
Honestly, my post office, they don't even give me a fucking... I had to go down to the fucking post office to get my fucking mail. It's ridiculous.
Oh, they don't put it in your mailbox?
I don't have a fucking mailbox. They give me a free PO box, but I still have to go to the fucking post office.
PO box is nice, but you need a mailbox.
I mean, it'd be nice if I had a fucking mailbox because I have to go and walk a half mile just to get to the fucking mail. So it's what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Versus Amazon or whatever, they can just deliver shit right up to my fucking doorstep, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I do like that they have with mail is if I were to get something from Amazon, they might not like ship ammo or certain things to my doorstep versus mail, which they're kind of required to do certain things.
Right.
So that's like the one benefit. But I imagine if you have some sort of law in place, you could probably make Amazon deal with that shit if
Yeah.
they were to replace them. But they just sound to be more efficient. Like look it up too. Like I don't even really like I really don't like Amazon as a company, but they are a lot more like I like the fucking post office less.
Oh yeah.
Like the people in there can be nice sometimes, but like my mom's, the fucking mail lady will give, the wrong people the mail all the fucking time.
Oh
They give it
god.
to the wrong person. And like
Yeah.
there was this one house for years which was vacant. And it got so bad, one day, someone we don't know who just like knocked down their mailbox
Oh.
because they kept getting other people's mail. And since no one was there, no one could really even check it. Like the postal lady will give people the fucking mail who don't even like live there
Mm-hmm.
all the time. Like versus Amazon, I don't think I've had that happen once.
Yeah, Amazon's pretty damn good. The only thing I don't like about them is when you don't sign up for Prime and you need something shipped to you, it takes fucking forever.
Well, I mean, you can choose how fast you want shipped. Just be paying out the money.
That's the problem. Speaking of Alex Jones, I just want to mention something. Our last video we did that I uploaded just the other day, we recorded this a while back, but the if Alex Jones wrote Star Wars: A New Hope, 30 views, 2 comments, 1 like already, and I think just under 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever it's been. That one did pretty good.
Yeah, no, what were the comments?
One guy just said he said amazing content.
Yes, that's what happens when you do fucking OC stuff. Speaking of fucking original content, I think we had a survival guide we were going to be talking about.
We do. We should actually address the title of this video. We've talked about this idea for a bit actually, but I think now is a more appropriate time than ever as to how we are going to survive the coronavirus. We need to develop a survival guide, the definitive list, let's say, of things you as a ordinary American should do to survive this pandemic. Because I'm not gonna lie, look, we can do some serious coverage on this and all that. Yeah, that's fine. But we have CNN just being all hysterical. Some people doing serious coverage. Let's make it fun. Let's have some fun with this. We're all cooped up here. Why not? Enjoy ourselves rather than getting depressed and all alone and locked and cooped up in our houses. So we were shooting the shit about this last night, even too. So you had some. I'll start with mine, which is a pretty edgy one, but it's worth noting since as many people have seen, toilet paper, it's in limited supply. It's nowhere to be seen on some shelves. At my local Giant's completely empty. So don't buy toilet paper. Do not buy it. I mean, you can't buy it anyway. But what you should buy is ammo. Lots and lots of ammo. And the reason is because when you have done that, you'll be able to get as much toilet paper as you want. And you can keep all the toilet paper you have. So stock
Give me
up.
goddamn toilet paper, son of a bitch.
Yeah, so somebody answers your, somebody knocks on your door trying to get your toilet paper, or maybe doesn't knock, they bang on your door. You can answer like that, and in that voice, but on the receiving or delivering end, I should say. And you can show them who's boss and who has the toilet paper and who's keeping it. Or you could steal it, but we don't promote stealing. But hey, pandemic calls for drastic action.
Well, see, here's kind of my response to that. With toilet paper out here, you're kind of right. You already is that fucking ship's already sailed. But instead of buying fucking toilet paper and hand sanitizer, so since we're already out of both of those, what you're going to want to do is buy the fucking copy of the Washington Post for cheap, or buy a copy of a Hillary Clinton novel from CBS. So
it's on sale.
With the Washington Post, you're getting a lot of paper. It probably it's newspaper, so it's pretty strong. You can probably get a good few wipes from that, and it's shit anyway. So you just recycling that. Same thing with the Hillary Clinton book. You're keeping it off the streets and away from harming people. Plus, if you buy it, if you can find one on sale at CVS, I've seen them go for as low as $1. You get double value because the CVS coupons are fucking like six fucking miles long. So you have two sources of toilet paper for your ass crack. And now for the hand sanitizer. And if you can't find this hand sanitizer, go to your local liquor store and buy some Everclear or whatever grain alcohol you can find. Highest percentage. This comes with the bonus of giving you something to drink while you're in lockdown.
Oh.
So the time will fly when you're in alcohol-induced coma. Plus, you can always make it into, hand sanitizer if you're feeling like that. 95 fucking percent alcohol by volume. That's roughly what they give you. It's a hell of a lot more fun than just buying their fucking, the rubbing alcohol. Dual use. So that's the most important thing over here. You want to be doing everything that you can to make dual use of things. So, you get this fucking... I mean, maybe not so much with the Hillary Clinton books. It's shit anyways. At least with the Washington Post, they probably have some comics. So, I mean, you can read that while you're taking a shit and just, immediately wipe your ass with it. So
was Alex Jones under the influence of the hand sanitizer when he was pulled over?
Well, obviously not enough because you drink Everclear. You're getting a lot more fucking .07.
Do you have any? What's your tip, Phil?
I have a don't. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't get a gay hooker, drink, and do meth in a Miami hotel room.
So that's good advice. Who
would do that? Who would do something that?
I don't know. Maybe
terrible.
Maybe somebody. Yeah, maybe somebody that was running for governor of Florida. Maybe that guy, Andrew Gillum.
Well, the Democrats, they want to go and tell you that they know how to prevent the coronavirus, but I don't think hooking up with a gay prostitute, drinking and doing, methamphetamine is a very precautious thing to be doing during this crisis.
That sounds like you're assuming you're going to die from this crisis.
Well, I mean, doing meth and banging hookers and passing out in a hotel room, that's probably not the safest thing to do on any day.
I don't know. It sounds like a good time to me.
But that's just fucking nutty.
That reminds me of Ted Haggard. He was the evangelical pastor that did the same shit years ago.
Oh, really?
He was an evangelical pastor of this big church.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, and he was, and what made it weird was he was very anti-gay. He was really anti-gay. And then come to find out that this dude was doing meth and blowing gay hookers. Yeah. And I just, when I read that police report, the Andrew Gillum police report, that's what I was thinking of. And I'm like, dude, just come out of the closet. All right. It was real weird anyway. Do you remember when he was campaigning?
Yes, I do. Because I remember they said he was monkeying things up and they thought that was racist.
Yeah. So the weird, there was just weird picture. There was pictures that came out where he was on a boat with some dude and they were he was saying, oh, that's my buddy, but they looked a little too close to be buddy. It was I don't know, buddy. And then when in his concession speech, when he was obvious that he lost.
Yeah.
He was hanging on to his wife. It was not authentic. It was very he had his arm over his wife's shoulder or something like that. It's real weird. I'm I don't know.
I was going to mention that.
Let's
remember that he is fucking married and has kids. He has kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Democrats will praise that he's a bisexual man,
He's very progressive.
Getting on with a constituency.
They'll be they'll sell it we need to be respectful of his journey as he's moving in a different direction in this world.
Oh, what fucking direction?
What? Great. Yeah.
No, dude, I think I found someone that could fucking beat that with the pastor. Fucking, this was from a few years ago. Fucking Catholic priest caught video snorting cocaine room with fucking gay dudes and Nazis.
Was this This is like the fur Nazis. That's what that reminds me of.
And then Andrew Gillum was saying, "Oh, I was at a wedding. I was drinking, but I did not use meth." And then that gay hooker comes forward and is like, "Nope, there was no wedding." Yeah.
What an honest hooker. Couldn't ask for better.
Look, because it looked like he was gonna. It looked like Andrew Gillum probably threw this gay hooker under the bus, and of course he has nothing to lose. He'll just say what like, okay, oh, you're gonna do me dirty, okay?
What are you
Allow
gonna
me
do?
to
Take
return
my
the
job?
favor.
Actually, I'll make a correction. I don't think that the priest was actually gay. He was just at a party doing fucking cocaine drinks and
Okay.
There was a case in Pittsburgh recently where a judge got in trouble for trying to go and buy his gay Nazi boyfriend, who's a felon, firearms.
Wait, what the fuck is up with all these gay Nazis? That's like 2 in a row. Or is that what you were conflating? I mean, that's just like, what? It's like bad enough we're dealing with a pandemic that's the boomer remover, some are calling it. The corona kung flu, the Wuhan virus.
The Wu flu.
Yeah, the Wu flu. And now we have this. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Just terrible. We need to get all the blacks out the country, yeah. Like, no, let's stop.
Yeah, fucking judge, and this is a judge buying his gay Nazi fucking gay Nazi boyfriend an AR-15. This is fucking Pittsburgh, like the place where they had the fucking synagogue shooting, and this guy is just buying his gay fucking Nazi boyfriend who's a felon, fucking weapons.
That's what we call bad timing.
Laws are broken. That's bullshit. But kind of going back to our fucking guide over here. Don't do any of that shit.
Yes.
But
be socially responsible and wash your hands.
yeah, I'd say definitely wash your hands.
20 seconds.
That's definitely a do. I would not go, and I'd be very cautious, about washing your hands with other people.
Well, in regards to sex, didn't somebody want to wear a mask while having sex? You posted an article about that.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. If you're going to go to a brothel, which is somehow still open, I was told that they're shutting down churches, but apparently brothels are in Nevada. That's still appropriate. Make sure you're wearing a mask if you're going to be banging hookers.
Yeah, you got to make sure while you're ass fucking a prostitute to make sure that you're wearing a mask. That's very...
That's what you need to worry about.
Important. That will save your life.
Don't wear a condom, wear a mask.
Okay. This is also a very good time if you're smart to go and buy a new car.
Ooh,
so if you
or stocks.
If you do buy a new car, due to lack of sales, you're going to get a great deal. So I would prefer, if you want to make the most out of this, buy a diesel 4x4. Big truck, big diesel truck. Because gas prices are low as hell, and you can drive over potholes and dead bodies with ease. Right. Don't buy a bicycle. You'll be doing heavy breathing if you're using the bicycle. You'll be exposed to elements, exposed to the coronavirus. If you try to put a mask on, you're gonna have a real bad time, or you're riding a fucking bicycle.
And if the coronavirus doesn't kill the planet, the fucking truck will. Global warming, pump it up.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good thing. We want to increase global warming right now.
Good idea.
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So everybody that's listening to this podcast, take a couple aerosol cans and just spray them in the air. Just spray them as much as you want.
Bump the fucking heat up, throw some wood into the fire, do everything you can. And also another problem with buying a bicycle, you don't want to hurt your balls, because this is a great time to have sex. There's going to be you're going to be working from home, maybe you're not be working at all. Great time to go and get laid. If you're riding a bicycle, your balls are going to be so sore, it's not going to be working too well. So definitely do not buy that bicycle.
Now here's the problem though. What if you were quarantined, but your significant other, girlfriend, or whoever is quarantined in a separate location? What should you do? How do you relieve the sexual tension?
Love the one you're with.
Yeah, that's an option. Definitely. Yeah,
Should you wear a
yeah,
mask?
you probably should.
Yeah.
Another option would be cyber sex. That's still a thing.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Can you
you've got these
imagine?
webcams you're going to be on, especially if you're on like a work call or something, or like working from home.
Can you
And what are
imagine
you going to take your lunch break?
the innovations we're gonna see in VR sex over the coronavirus? Because everything's gonna be done virtually. You're gonna have like Zoom sex.
Yeah, like this is actually probably a good time if you've been in a robot. This is a perfect time to go and buy one out if you're lonely. You don't have
Well,
a
they're
girlfriend.
probably.
Not gonna.
I'm betting those are sky high now. The
Uh,
prices of sex bots are probably sky high now.
Yeah,
Like, because everybody wants one. They don't want to. They don't want to. They don't want to have sex while they're quarantined,
high
right? They're not
demand.
trying to get that. Yeah, they want something clean.
Yeah.
They want something clean.
Something that doesn't spit, that doesn't contract it. Well, actually, no. I mean, theoretically, the sex robot could get coronavirus. If somebody touches
I think it needs to have a human host for that. I mean, if you have coronavirus, as long as it's not a community.
No, but it can go on surfaces.
Now, if you're going to be having sex with a robot, you should probably keep it to yourself. You don't want to be sharing that with your friends. It's not like Facebook. Don't hit that share button with that. It's not like not like a hooker doing party favors out here. You gotta be very personal with it, especially during these times. If at any other time you want to go and pass it around, do your fucking thing. But now you want to keep your sex toys, your sex robots to yourself. Also, you probably want to.
Wait, you gotta stop right there. Why are you assuming somebody with a sex robot has friends?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, man.
Really?
But,
you know somebody?
No, man. Check out the Japanese. I'm sure they probably had this for like 20 years by now.
That is racist, sir. Very racist. You're banned from this. I'm firing you.
And we're not on the air, No,
oh, that's true. We can say. Actually, maybe I shouldn't even say it here.
You want to be careful with that. We're on YouTube too. But another thing with the sexy times.
Yeah.
You're gonna wanna not you probably want to stay away from Tinder. And other dating apps right now. You're gonna be bringing a unknown person into your house, potentially contaminating you. And what if you're locked in with them too? Like, what if you end up in quarantine and they're stuck with you and you don't know this person? They're going to be using all your toilet paper. They're going to be, potentially spreading other diseases. So just probably stay away from Tinder right now. That's probably the best thing for you. Now, if you already have a significant other, this is a great time to get busy. You're going to be having all that extra time. Definitely consider that. But, stay away from Tinder. You don't want to be doing that. Now, what else?
Well,
what's another thing people are going to?
Well, here I'll give a do, right?
Yes.
So do take in the event of this this coronavirus is going on, you're going to want to pack up all your shit if you're in a liberal spot like Champaign, Illinois, and you're going to want to move the fuck away from it. That's what you're going to want to do. You don't want to stay there because in the event of something like this, as you're finding out in Champaign, Illinois, they're going to declare a state of emergency so they can strip all your fucking powers and freedoms and all that shit. So yeah, take all your shit, get the fuck out of the liberal areas.
Yeah, no, that's a surprising thing too, and I think we should probably, that deserves its own fucking conversation. Because they unprecedentedly, they've stripped away your firearm rights and your ability to go and buy out.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't they like limiting your ability to buy fucking toilet paper right now? Because that's a big fucking. You can't find it in most stores unless you go to real fucking hole in the wall. But they're taking away your ability to buy a gun. It's almost like the government's been wanting this. And here's sort of my conspiracy theory. I think a lot, like some of these liberals and some of these people out here, maybe they're working with the Chi-Coms to go and strip away our rights over here.
They're going to the Chi-Coms, they're taking over.
Well, because no, like look at like they're doing things which would never be able to fly any other time. I wonder how long this virus is going to last. Maybe this is a test run for when the Chinese take over the U.S. Maybe this is a test run for when the New World Order takes over. We don't know. You know, they're going to strip our rights. So if you already have a gun, I would make sure buy as much ammo as you can while you still can. If you're considering buying a gun, buy it now. You know, preferably would have won one a while ago, but if you can't, you know, you're kind of screwed. Learn, you know, look at there's some great resources on the internet. I know there was a this like army munitions handbook. I think I've you know heard of this. They tell you how to go make firearms out of certain supplies. Same thing with the anarchist cookbook. They'll tell you how to make certain things. Mileage may vary. Be very, very careful with anything like that. But if we're going to be living in Fallout world, you're going to want to have some ability to defend yourself other than a kitchen knife. You know, we're not in England anymore, buddy. You gotta be stocking up. Use what you can. There's some great tutorials how to make like simple pipe shotguns. Not the best, but you know it's a shotgun. It's not as dangerous. Like all you really need is a you know the shotgun shells and some pipes. It's not dangerous to go in as dangerous as some of these other firearms to make since shotguns are relatively low pressure. It's definitely something you'd want in a worst case scenario because when someone's coming down the chimney, it's probably not Santa Claus.
So you're saying we need common sense toilet paper control?
You know, honestly, yeah, that's another thing. You know, don't go and try to gouge prices. Like, I mean, if you're going to be a savvy businessman, I'm all for that during most situations. But if you're me doing that now, you're like
That's
a fucking
awful.
super Scrooge McDuck. Like, you know, that's such a dick move to go and take away someone's toilet paper. You're gonna be stuck in a fucking house and you can't even take a shit. But if you're smart, I would do invest in a bidet. That's a great way to conserve toilet paper because you'll just be shooting water up your ass. The Europeans do it. They've done it for years. My aunt had a bidet before it was popular. Now it's a great time to get one of those because you won't be using toilet paper. And, you know, the negative side is it'll be good for the environment, but
it's eco-friendly.
for times like this, you don't really want that. But if you're a liberal, you know, even liberals would approve of the use of a bidet because it's, you know, especially for guys because it's something going up the ass. It's helping them be a little more gender fluid.
Do you think Greta Thunberg uses a bidet?
Well, if she's in Europe, probably. Like it's like I mean,
and she's rich as shit.
Well, it's nice to go and use a bidet. You know, like in other places, like it's actually you know better than just spending money on toilet paper. It fixes things, and for ladies, their biology. There are certain reasons why they would prefer using bidets compared to men. You don't want to go too much into that.
We don't. We can be racist, but we can't do that.
Well, I mean, you know, it's better for them. It lowers chances of getting infections and you know thrush and all that other good stuff.
Good stuff.
And it's better for like old people too. So like you know, if they have a hard time bending in their ass, you just have a robot shoot water up there, so you don't have to go and bend over. But it's a great time to buy a bidet. You know, and in general, you know, buy low and sell high. Not with toilet paper, not with essentials, preferably, but for stocks. I was looking at the stock market, man. It's been taking a tumble. Not so good for your 401k. I would, if you can, I would not recommend using that right now until this coronavirus thing's gone. Give it a couple months. Once things start recovering, it'll be great. It'll be huge. But if you can, right now is one of the best times in the world to invest because you can get stocks at rock bottom prices. I would, if this is your first time, like I'd try to go and choose certain companies. Like I personally like banks because the government tends to bail those out, like especially bigger ones, and they're not as affected as certain other, you know, like airline industry. I'd be careful about that, but you can probably make a lot of money off it too. So definitely consider investing in stocks if you have extra money lying around. I've heard things about certain Bitcoins and stuff. I generally stay away from those, but you know, if it gets low enough, you know, I'd be. Well, here's the thing with Bitcoin. I'm not so much afraid of investing in Bitcoin but like it seems like every single fucking Bitcoin wallet, they always end up getting hacked.
Yeah.
So I'd be very, very cautious of that.
Well, this would be a terrible time to buy like gold and Bitcoin now, because the value is already
I
going
think
up because
Bitcoin
we're
just
in the middle.
dropped the other day. I don't know if it's still down low,
No, it's
but
down.
Sean was telling me about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking
Well,
at it. It's down for
in
sure.
any case, yeah, no, you buy gold and you buy stuff like Bitcoin and stuff for this very moment, but you don't buy it right now. Like you buy it before it gets this fucking bad, so at least you have something to leverage when the dollar goes to wherever the fuck it's gonna go.
Here's why I like stock too. Is unlike Bitcoin, stocks for the most part, they can pay dividends.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting wealth that will multiply in a few months, but if you hold on to it for a little while, if you hold on to it for I think like 2 years, that's considered capital gains. So that's significantly like less of a tax disadvantage than your income.
Actually, and also corporate bonds will be a good thing too. Like look out for good corporate bonds, because like when these when these companies start tightening up financially, they're going to be looking to try to get more capital. And so the very first thing they usually do is they throw bonds out. Like, and of course, if nobody's spending money, they're going to have to demand a premium to get those bonds. So just a little word of advice, be on the lookout.
Well, I would also
And
say
another thing
that
too,
with
if you can, oh,
with stocks, I would normally never say invest in them because it's just too risky. It's gambling unless you have
stocks are
insider.
not that bad.
What?
Stocks aren't that bad. You just have to be smart with
Well,
them.
you need to have insider knowledge. But
You
right
don't need to
now,
have insider knowledge. That's not true, man.
I think totally, because you really don't know what's going to happen. This is one of the few times where you do know what's going to happen. It's going to go
See,
back up.
If you're new to stocks, you could always buy an ETF. You could always get into mutual funds. I've had mutual fund for years. I've made significant amount of money. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but over time, it's been like an 8% increase year by year for the most part. And that's true for most stocks. Now, if you go and buy some shitty like startup company, okay, I'd stay away from penny stocks in general. But certain companies, it's a risk, but there's also a great potential for reward.
Or loss.
Well, that's the thing, risk versus reward. You buy some more reputable companies, like companies that have been long standing that probably aren't going away anytime soon. Stay away from your retail generally, but like you can make tons of money off.
Can you
But
though? Because like for example,
yes,
Google stock is at like 500 something. Is it honestly going to go up much more? And if
well,
it does, it's going to go down.
I'd be careful with things like Google. I wouldn't buy something that's that high. That's why, like, I bought some Citizens Bank stocks. I know what it usually goes up.
How?
So I can get like I look 5 year or like I looked at a 5 year review of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like a couple months ago it was going for $40. It was like $20 the other day. Bought it then. Give it a couple months. Once this thing blows over, I'll make double my money in a couple.
Yeah, you just want to buy investments that are getting beaten the hell out of right now, because this thing ain't gonna stay. Like this whole coronavirus thing, it's gonna pass,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like, and once it does, then those stocks are going to eventually recover.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
right now, yeah, you're gonna want to buy low, sell high, right?
Which
Yeah,
stocks would you say to invest in?
Well, I mean, I personally, if I'd be careful with airlines, but if you can find one of them that you think's not going to go under, I would definitely consider, because obviously not all of them are going to go under. There's some of them that are propped up by the state.
No.
I'd be careful about auto stocks because that whole thing's been disrupted pretty much with like Tesla and stuff and just people not buying cars. But I like banks. I'm a little bit biased with that. But
yeah, but how much do bank stocks honestly go up?
Well, they just went down a lot, so I'd say probably what they used to be. Like, don't take a look at what they were like a few months ago.
Well, I was looking at some of them, and they really don't move much.
Well, they just did, so that's why you buy it now.
I'll take another look, because I will say I did download Robinhood, and I am looking to invest. I'm a little tiny bit late because the day to really buy was on, I think, Thursday when the big crash happened, and I mean, everything was like record lows. So it's still a good time now because everything's still overall low. So and it could go down even again. It could. I mean, nobody really knows, but since the thing, I mean, I don't. Depends how the economy goes, really. So we'll see. But now's the time to invest in something, and that's what I'm looking at is because Bitcoin dropped 50%. I might put a little bit in Bitcoin, not a lot, but diversify, I guess. Put it, some money in a few things.
Well, here we go. Here's one I invest in, Citizens Bank. Right now it's going for $23 a share.
Mm-hmm.
A month ago, it was going for $40 a share.
Mhm.
Like a few years ago, it was going for like $46, $47 a share.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think I was looking at PNC of all banks and a few others, and it didn't look too hot in terms of like where it
Well,
was
the
going.
only one. Well, here's what I'll tell you about banks right now. Do not personally. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what not to do, but I'd stay away from Wells Fargo. Stay
They've
away
had
from
some
that.
issues too.
That's why it's going down and it's going up, but I don't like what's been going on with the news with that one.
Yep, I totally agree.
M&T Bank. I mean, right now they're on the up and up, so it actually this ship might have already sailed. But if you're going to look at other industries like the airline industry right now, you can probably get some good deals with that. Some of the gas industry you might be able to, but that whole stuff because OPEC right now, there's some shenanigans going on with Russia.
Yeah,
I would definitely be
They're
interested.
getting in a pissing match with Saudi Arabia, and so who knows how that's going to end up, and that really doesn't affect that's not an effect of like the really with the coronavirus. Like if you're going to try to invest, you're going to try to invest in shit that's getting beaten the shit out of because of this coronavirus mess.
but not
But
being
here's another
so
thing.
much that it doesn't recover.
I think most of these guys, if they're big enough, they're going to recover. Like you.
Too
Well, the
big to
bank's
fail?
already recovering right now. I'm looking at it. Bank of America like 17% change over the past I think day. Like Key Corp, which is Key Bank, that's 17%. J.P. Morgan Chase 18%. So now just be on the lookout for more dips. If it dips really far again, another good time to invest. Here's another thing too. If you're looking to buy a house, now's probably one of the best times to do it because the Fed just cut the rates again.
Oh, they cut
Like
interest rates.
Yeah.
So you're going to be getting a great deal on interest. People, if you can still find a house on the market, which you probably will right now, maybe, definitely consider that. And any sort of other big loans you're going to be doing, if you're going to be doing a big home improvement and you're going to take out some sort of federally guaranteed loan, like maybe a HELOC or something. Another good time to do it would be right now if you're going to be taking just in general like a loan, especially student loans, which, if you're going to be doing an online college, this is probably a great time for that.
Oh, yes.
Like an accredited one. Yeah. If you're going to a non-online college, expect to be doing online classes for until this whole thing passes over. But if you're okay with that, like the student loan interest rates, from what I understand, they have been like student loans. Like there's no interest right now due to an executive order, from what I understand.
That is true. He waived student loan interest rates. I know you probably know a bit more about this, but I would say it's not a bad idea to invest a little bit in Bitcoin. I wouldn't put a lot in it because I've heard it's kind of iffy, but I would think it would go back up. It might have another big hike, and then sell it then and probably stay out of it. But what do you think of Bitcoin? That's my non-official advice.
I think most of that stuff passed. Like I remember, I had a buddy of mine. He spent like back in the day when bitcoins were basically bought and sold. Like he spent like 400 bitcoins on a piece. If you would have kept that shit, he'd be not having to work a day in his fucking life. Now it's like the regulations on it. Like they're getting a lot more stringent, and most of my issues with it comes with, and you don't get any dividends from it, from what I understand.
No. I mean Bitcoin and like other cryptocurrencies are kind of similar to like the metals, like the precious metals. You want to get those to like stabilize what you have. You're not really using it to like gain or lose money. You're trying to keep what value you have and whatever you own. Like that's because if the if the dollar rises or the dollar falls, that gold is going to stay valuable regardless. And like same with Bitcoin, like, or some of those cryptocurrencies or whatever. Like you're trying to base it. You're more so keeping what you have instead of gaining.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, and I think that's
Yeah.
probably true. But I don't know. Bitcoin's a funny thing because why did it even jump that huge, jump it made not too long ago, like a year ago? Like, why even did that happen?
I don't know. People like Bitcoin because it's it's not like the regular currency where people can just keep buying it. And the thing with Bitcoin is it's generated, by people using their computers, and it's like a logarithmic, I think, function. I once had an old friend of mine tell me all this shit.
Oh, Bitcoin
A
mining?
lot of it is how much of it is moving around too. Like how much of it's being used, how much of it is being traded amongst one another. Same with stocks. Like how much movement however much movement definitely plays a role into whether it goes up or down. So just think about that before you blow your money. Who wants to listen to another do?
Yes.
Yeah, let's
yes.
hear it.
All right.
Whip it out, big boy.
That didn't sound right, but okay.
I didn't mean it that way.
No. So do called it. If you feel like calling this thing the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus, go ahead and fucking do it. Don't listen. Don't listen, because look, it came from China. Let's just be real. It came from China, so fucking call it the Chinese virus or the Wuhan virus, whatever you want to call it. Right? Don't listen to these mainstream the mainstream media when they tell you, oh, don't say that, it's racist. No, you could say whatever the fuck you want to say it is because it was from China. And another thing, the mainstream media, they have Chinese interests. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. Right. CNN, they're a subsidiary of AT&T. They do business in China. MSNBC, they're a subsidiary of Comcast. They do a ton of fucking business in China. ABC News, right? They're owned by Disney. They do a shitload of business in China. CBS Viacom, right? They do a shitload of business in China, right? All these people have Chinese interests, and this is why this is one of the reasons why when you watch the news and they don't go after China, or they don't they're not exploring what's going on in China like they should. It's because they have Chinese interests and they don't want to fuck up their Chinese interests. So they're going to, they'll do whatever they have to keep their shit or whatever.
Well, and here's another thing too. It's like, don't listen to the fucking Chinese and Democrat propaganda about how the U.S. was the ones responsible for this virus. There's no evidence of that.
No.
If you ever seen a wet market over there, you could see easily how this and many other diseases could be spread. They have markets where they just sell like live animals, like all brunched up together.
Yeah.
And, for sale for eating. You can get like slabs of meat over there. And this isn't like your cows and chickens and, whatever fucking regular like domestic animals. No, this is like fucking koala bears, jellyfish, and like most notoriously like bats and pangolins. Stuff like bushmeat. You're eating fucking bushmeat out there. Like, that's what they do in like Africa in a similar fashion. This is supposed to be, a very civilized country, but they do these sort of eating habits, and it's not only dangerous to endangered wildlife, They're the ones who are getting in trouble for killing off sharks for shark fin soup. But it's also dangerous to health
Yeah.
because you don't know what these animals, are like, especially these wild like bats, especially. It's like the rat of the sky. And why are we eating them? It's disgusting. I mean, say what you will about like cultures being different, but as we can see from this, and from what I understand, it came from a wild pangolin or a bat that was consumed in a wet market or purchased from a wet market. That's what I originally heard, and that makes sense to me. Now they're saying the United States, the Chinese media, they're claiming that the United States were the ones responsible for it. I don't buy it. The Chinese, if anything, like I've heard multiple theories about this, and this could like that this wet market was near a biological research facility. I've heard things about like a monkey or bat or something pissing on someone and they like scratch their face. I don't know, but what I do know, it's definitely coming from China. And yeah, no, let's be real about this. It's the Chinese who are responsible for it. It was their, allowing of this disgusting habit. And I'm not like this big ego freak, but I don't think that civilized societies should be having these, frankly, disgusting conditions in these food markets where they just have like live animals for slaughter that aren't even like remotely domesticated.
Well, let's be real though. This
Yeah.
is China. They're not taking responsibility for their problem because China wants to be this big superpower, and they want to affirm to their people that China can do no wrong. China's the best. Don't question President Xi. He's a god. Everything is amazing. And when you have this virus breaking out like this, that totally breaks that frame. That destroys that image. And they know that. They're not stupid. They're probably really fucking smart, but they're also fucking
Well,
evil.
they're master manipulators too. They're masters at like manipulation and propaganda. I honestly believe, and I've debated this with a couple of people. I believe that is why Apple kicked Infowars off of its platform. I think because Alex Jones was very critical about China for years now, right? This is one of those things he was very critical of China and how they're handling shit. And as you know, Apple does a whole lot of business in China, right? They do a whole lot, lots of sweatshop work, lots of just business of all kinds. And you really think Apple's going to want to fuck with their money? Think again. I think that might have had more of an impact on how Apple dealt with InfoWars more than anything.
Well, yeah, and this whole sort of, that's another sort of thing. So do buy American and just don't buy Chinese in general,
Yep.
if you can help it,
Mhm.
because this sort of crisis shows what we have like basically given to the Chinese. We've given away a good portion of our medical supply chain over to the Chinese, and when something like this happens, and we need like medical supplies, vaccines, anything. And when you find out that like 80% or however much percent, someone can fact check me on that, of our supply chain is reliant on the Chinese market, that's a huge, not only like issue just for civilians trying to go and buy gas, like respirators and gloves, but a huge issue in terms of national defense. Why are we giving one of our biggest rivals pretty much the keys to the kingdom for any sort of disaster like this? Like, let's say we were at war with China, and they decided to use biological warfare, we'd be completely screwed.
Yeah.
But that's
And,
almost what
and I,
happens this right now.
and even if like, okay, so even if you decide, hey, we're going to move a lot of our stuff to China, you better have a fucking backup plan, right?
Yep.
You better have a backup plan if shit goes awry, because those are the time. Look, I mean you have a lot of these companies that moved all their shit to China and really didn't have a backup plan at all. Like, as we're seeing now, they don't have a backup plan when shit goes awry. And I don't know. I mean, there's always, just be smart. Like, dude, these people just didn't. I don't know. For the last fucking decade plus, man, they've been just moving stuff around and not thinking correctly at all, and just being willy nilly with shit.
No,
Like,
it's all about greed. It's people that
well, it is. It is.
that's
But
the thing. And
but
that's
just
hard to
like,
change unless you do what Trump's doing, which is like tariffs and getting aggressively better trade deals. And I think this is what's the one positive we can see from this,
mhm.
is that I think it's going to wake a lot of people up that were either on the fence about Trump or thought he was wrong about this China stuff. I mean, a lot of us, I bet I'm not alone in this, were saying this shit about China before Trump, or maybe we first heard through Trump, or some other people. And I mean, it's. I think a lot of people are finally going to realize that we can't be dependent on China. We can trade, we can have shit made there, but we can't be dependent. We need to bring jobs back. We need to bring resources back. Obviously, you can't have
Right. But this,
nothing. Like
you are
Well, actually, you know
absolutely
what?
right.
We could probably do a whole fucking list of the benefits of this thing.
the benefits of coronavirus.
Yeah, because honestly,
Hot take.
yeah, no. So I would say probably one of the biggest benefits from this, is like what you mentioned, is that it is showing that Trump was right in attacking China, and it was showing that Trump was right in the fact that we need jobs over here. That's probably one of the biggest benefits. But also, this also shows that open borders doesn't work.
Open
You
borders
know,
kills.
yeah, and look, like it's actually worked so much that the Mexican government
Oh
is looking
yes.
to close the border between the U.S. and China. Think about that.
Fucking A.
Maybe we
Mexico
can get
is
them to
gonna
fucking pay
build.
for that wall now if we have people jumping over there
Dude,
with the fucking
Mexico.
coronavirus.
Literally, the coronavirus is making Mexico do our job for us. Like, think about that.
Yeah, no, it's also showing that a lot of these like liberal policies with like sanctuary cities and undocumented immigrants, in times like this, you want everyone to be fucking accounted for.
Yep.
You don't want to have like random people just showing up on the street. Because how can you quarantine someone if they don't exist on paper? Like, let's be real over here. This is showing problems with them, and it's honestly really hurting the Democrats. Like, they were saying this is going to hurt Trump. No, this is going to hurt the Democrats because not one of them suggested closing borders.
Yep.
They said that's the wrong thing to do, but you can look. Every other country that has a coronavirus problem is closing borders.
No, go back
China,
when he
shutting
closed.
down borders.
Go back.
Fucking Spain, Europe for the most part.
Go back to when he closed the borders with China. Remember, during the impeachment thing, they were all saying, "Oh, you can't do this. You shouldn't be doing this. This is racist. This is a bad idea. Yada yada yada." Look who is fucking right now.
The only people that are saying this have a vested interest in China's agenda. Like they these are the people. Look, the mainstream media. You've got a lot of these people that are doing business in China. Look. You have even sports athletes, right? Look how much sports stuff's going on in China, right? You have NBA games in China. You have like soccer, like European soccer. They're talking about. They were talking about having games in China, and they were talking about, like, look, there's a lot of business. Like in European football, there's teams that are owned. Like I want to say I could think of probably 10 major teams, European soccer teams in China, or no, there are 10 European teams that are owned by Chinese. Like there's a lot. There's a lot of Chinese money that's being pumped into a whole lot of stuff going on. And if you don't want to fuck, these people don't want to fuck it up. And so they're willing to abandon safety, health, welfare. They don't care. They're so you really have to, like, when you're listening to people and you're listening to ideas, and like what should we do next? You're going to have to think about that. You're going to have to think of, well, what are these fuckers' motivation for saying the shit that they do?
Well, you know what I think too is that now, because of this great awakening to China, you now have two things destroyed. hopefully, the media and the Russia hoax. I think people, at least some people, finally realize Russia ain't shit. Russia isn't our enemy. China's our enemy. They
Yeah.
are our main competitor. They're the ones that are really causing problems. They're the ones we need to worry about. Russia
Yeah.
is
Well,
totally not in the conversation right now. It's all about China, and people realize that the issues China is bringing affects their lives directly. That's what matters, is
yeah.
that they're
Well,
feeling the effects. You don't feel the effects of Russia, even if there are any. You feel China. And the mainstream media pumping up this hysteria. They created this mass hysteria that we're living in right now. They
yeah.
created it. And I think I've even heard from some people that are like typical Democrat liberal types. They're kind of discussive how CNN's doing shit, how they're
Yeah.
nitpicking. And I'm not making this up. This is so important. Everyone should check it out on our Twitter at Versa Media, at Versa News Media. I mean, it's from Mike Cernovich at Cernovich. He had this summed it up so well how bad this coverage was. There was a tweet that said, Google is not a CNN tweet that said Google is not making the coronavirus website. You click on the link, and the article's headline literally says, I'm not making this up, Google is making the coronavirus website. A total fucking 360, because they didn't do their homework, and they didn't realize when Trump announced this, he said Google because that's what people know. You know, he's talking about what people recognize, but it's technically a sister company of Google. And then once this little confusion happened, Google took the reins, said we're just gonna do this in the main house. Well, it's fucking unbelievable. They're nitpicking little shit. Meanwhile, Trump took a coronavirus test because people asked him to. That's a beautiful display of democracy working right there. The people say, hey, you should do this, and he does it, and, you know, they're still upset, and they didn't even know what to do with it. But I think the globalist corporate media is gonna they're gonna have a real reputation tarnished from this, and
well, they're
Russia
already.
hoax is dead.
Yeah. I think. Well, I think they're already. They're already like we viewed, and a lot of these, and there's a lot of confusion. I think with the general public because they're viewing MSNBC and CNN like these big powerhouse news organizations,
Right.
and over the last few years we've seen a radical change in how big they are anymore because like you know the well especially with CNN over the last 30 years they've went from being this big news organization that's from all over the world uh to being basically a nuclear voice for the extreme left. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is what they are now. They're a subsidy of a phone company now. Like this is who they are. They are a subsidy of a phone company, a phone
Let that
conglomerate.
sink in.
Right. So they're not in this for news, like real news anymore. Like this is so these people have to wake up and look at it for what it is. So and everybody's like, well, oh, CNN's ratings are in the tank. Well, no shit. Like look at who they are now, right? And you look at that, and this is what I was talking about, like with the time the AT&T Time Warner merger. I'm like, this could have an effect on CNN because now they're going to be even deeper in the subsidy tree where like now they're all owned by AT&T now. Like this is you know they're not that they're which they're just going to be spreading propaganda like because they're subsidy you're not going to know they're not going to give you accurate information as far as financials and viewership and all that stuff because they're a subsidy and they really don't have to so now we're stuck with this confusion of well well I think people are starting to see now who CNN really is
Mm.
and MSNBC look at MSNBC they're the same way look You've got you had when Comcast bought NBC Universal, right? That was the same thing, really. Like MSNBC became another rung below the subsidiary tree, and so now they're a subsidy of a cable company, right? It's
Well, I think the other
that's who
factor,
they are.
the other factor too, and I think this is a slower factor, but it's going to become more apparent soon, is that CNN's audience is dying. Fox News' audience too is dying. It's old people.
Mhm.
I mean, my
Yeah.
generation simply does not watch cable news. We're streaming, we're watching YouTube, we're listening to podcasts. There's probably
Yep.
some, our audience for this show, for this
Yeah.
channel, is
Mhm.
young people.
Yeah.
And CNN is not adapting to this. So their viewership is slipping. They don't know what to fucking do. I don't even think they honestly get it. I don't think they get why their audience is slipping. So they're like, oh, we need to pump, Russiagate more. We need to pump the Russia hoax more. We need to do this and that. We need to be more sensational. Coronavirus 24/7. And the thing is, yes, I think the coronavirus should be talked about a lot because it's obviously affecting. This is a historic event that arguably is affecting people's lives more than 9/11. I mean, I remember when 9/11 happened, my parents said that airports shut down, this and that shut down, but it was only for like a day or two or whatever it was. This is the entire globe is shutting down for weeks. The planet is shutting down for weeks, maybe months. We don't know. I mean, this is unbelievable. Like we were talking about earlier. You have just look at the NBA. Just the NBA shutting down. What that
Mhm.
means alone is insane because obviously the players aren't playing and doing their thing, but it's hurting the concession stands, the ticketers, or
Mhm.
whoever's there, that has the staffers, the employees, like, and that could go on, the cheerleaders. Like, there is so many crippling effects to this.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
unbelievable. And like, if we want to go back to the school front, I mean, Jesus, seniors
Yeah.
not graduating.
What about March Madness?
Yeah, there's no
What about
March
March
Madness.
Madness? Yeah. Like that, I look at that as even worse. Like, I mean, NBA, they're you know, I look at that and obviously that's crippling, but like I look at March Madness. I look at it from a city standpoint.
Yeah, you're
Like
right.
cities bid to have like these tournaments, like the Final Four and the national championship game in their city, and like all these tournaments, and they're expecting to bring like hundreds of millions of dollars into the area, and like with the TV deals and stuff like that, and to not have that, you're talking about, yeah, there's billions of dollars that are lost
And
when
think
you're
of all
looking at the
these
big picture.
Well, think of all these college athletes too. I mean,
Mhm.
god damn, I feel so bad for them. I mean,
Yeah.
this is their moment to shine. This is something that could literally, like, make or break their career. This could more make their career than anything, I should say. Like, this could make them superstars, and they've been robbed of this
Mhm.
moment. I mean, look, I
Mhm.
get it. We gotta shut shit down. I get it for the virus, but can we just postpone it? Can we just put the whole world's on pause right now? Can we just take a little time out of our very short lives and just actually enjoy some of these cool things, you know?
Well, well yeah, no, I agree with that, but this sort of brings up another bit like benefit to the coronavirus is it's showing the cracks in globalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
problems of
Yeah.
having an interconnected world because people forget about that. They forget about all these
Yeah.
viruses in the past, and for the most part, we were pretty immune to these big sort of viruses. Well, we didn't really have these like global outbreaks at the time because the world wasn't so globalized. Like the reason the Spanish flu was so bad is because everyone like there was a whole world war that kind of brought over here. But that was really probably the last major
Pandemic.
issue, and that's still like from my understanding that was like a 10% death rate. Like the coronavirus is like between like 1 and like 3%.
Some
So if
say
we
it's
had
higher,
something,
but
yeah, like if we had something on the magnitude of the like Spanish flu breaking out now, we would be so screwed. Or like heaven forbid, like we used to have with the Black Death, like this recent it's called the Black Death. Like that was like 50 to like almost 100% depending on the type of plague, bubonic plague that you got. Like,
Can't say that one either. That's racist.
Well, like, no, but like we've learned these lessons as a society, as the Western society specifically, and this is why, for years, globalism and like this interconnectivity between societies was generally looked down upon because there was a severe issue, especially before modern medicine, of a pandemic like this breaking out. And that's why things like quarantines were set up, and we kind of forgotten about that. And this was a reality check for the world because, this is honestly one of the much lesser, dangerous viruses and pathogens that could be released. Like, good Lord, what if we had Ebola? What if this, like the Ebola outbreak, actually blew up into this huge global thing? There would be a lot more people dead. And I think this is a good, sort of test run for a global, like pandemic response. And we're going to be remembering this stuff, and like doctors and health professionals across the world are going to remember this event, and they're going to use this to our advantage. So when we have something seriously, really dangerous, we'll know what to do. And hopefully, we'll have better precautions.
Oh, that's true. I'm glad you brought that up because this shows that the world is not ready for a global pandemic. It just isn't ready. I mean, and I think the criticisms of Trump have been a bit ridiculous because they're like, well, he should have done this. He could have done this faster. It's like, well, fuck. I mean, he could have fucking done so many things faster.
Look, I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job personally because I especially loved the press conference where he had all the big CEOs out there lockstep in it, and they're like, this is the kind of stuff you're going to need to do in today's age to really take on something like this. You're not like, look at how Italy handled this shit. Like, they handled it fucking terribly.
Yeah.
Terribly. And look, and here, let's go. Let's take it one step further. This a pro, right? Of all of this going on is we're seeing the nastiness of universal health care, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to see what kind of shit universal health care has given us to what we have here. Like, look at Italy. Italy has like a universal healthcare system ish, right? And you know what they're doing? They're not giving healthcare to older people, right?
Wow.
They're just saying, oh well, they're old. Like, we're using our resources toward the people that are of age versus the older ones. So the older ones are kind of fucked. Like,
and they're the most vulnerable.
Right. So, and that's what they're doing. That is what, but look, that is the exact reason why we don't want universal health care in this country, because it's going to fuck over older people. It always does. It always sends the older population into the shitter, because it's like, well, they'll look at you, you'll go in, and they'll look at you, they'll do their little triage and go, oh, can we help this guy? No? Okay, get the fuck out. And like, look, and if an older person wants to spend the money to live longer, that's their fucking prerogative, right?
Yeah.
That's their choice, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, and so we can't, like this is how we do it, right? What Trump did with that press conference is he's setting it up to where he's incentivizing these major corporations to play ball with him, to get this thing moving faster, to get these tests moving, to get the healthcare moving, and to where they can streamline the process, make it faster, make it more available. That's how you have to take care of this thing.
Well, what he's doing is what's so smart, so business savvy, is he's using whatever is the right tool for the job. He sees, the government's doing what it can. I want to move faster. Let's try the private sector. Let's use this tool. And he's utilizing it to make the testing tents in the parking lots of Walmart, Target. It's genius. It's great.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fantastic. I think
People look at capitalism like there's some Bernie bros out there that are shitting on capitalism or whatever. Like, oh, it's evil, whatever. I'm like, it's capitalism is really nothing. It's just there, right? It's there for you to use, right?
yeah.
And so what you have to do, and they teach us this in business school all the time, is if you want to, like, say you want to hire a manager, right? Say you're a company, you want to hire a manager, and you don't want the manager to behave to where he's benefiting himself versus at the expense of the company. You align the incentives for the manager to work to where when the company succeeds, the manager succeeds, right?
Right, right,
So that's where you see, bonuses, like performance bonuses
right.
or stock options or something like that. If the stock option hits at a certain level, they can act on it or something like that. This is what they teach you. Like, look, and this is the kind of mindset that somebody as business savvy as Trump sees. It's like he sees this and it's like, okay, now I can do something that gets these CEOs to behave in line to the agenda that I'm trying to make, which is to save lives, to streamline tests, to streamline supplies. And this is what we're talking about here. And Trump has done a great job with that. And he's done as good of a job as anybody can do.
Right, I couldn't agree with that more because that's what these businesses see. It's like, holy shit, this is great for our business. Let's do this. Let's get more people at Target. And I think that's great. Like, use that to your advantage. Two other things I want to mention too is number one, this is something Steve Bannon has been saying. Italy's going to go through a depression. I think he's 100% right. Like, this is absolutely just anybody's going to get hit the hardest. It's Italy because they. Rely on tourism mainly now, honestly. I mean, yeah, they make furniture and a few other things, but it's tourism that's driving them. And when you have over the summer the country on lockdown, the country shut down, people can't come in or don't want to come in, your tourism's dead. You are losing so much money on so many levels. Restaurants aren't getting money. Airlines, I mean, I could just go on and on. So many things aren't getting money. And number two is Bannon was calling this a pandemic in January. I believe. He was calling it months ago. He was saying this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be nothing like we've ever seen before. I listened. This was on his podcast. I mean, I listened to a bunch of podcasts to get a variety of views and whatnot because Bannon can be somewhat interesting on his takes. And when I heard that, I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie. Really, I thought he was just being dramatic. I was wrong, very wrong. But it's just a crazy time we're living in. I mean, that's why I think it's important we do this. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I've been saving a bunch of papers of, oh fuck, I forgot to grab the Philly Inquirer today, but I've been saving a bunch of papers of like all the shit that's been going on.
And sort of like another sort of benefit of this is it shows like the lawmakers what sort of things are important to have, in terms of like price gouging policies, because a lot of states, they haven't really had a major disaster like this in a long time. So the price gouging laws are either out of date or they just don't exist. Like now
Right.
we're learning toilet paper and hand sanitizer when, which really isn't like the toilet paper is just not really going to be an issue in terms of like in terms of not getting the virus. I mean, it's going to be an issue, but it could have been a lot worse if this was like clean water or something, which I mean, it might be, it kind of is going into now, but you know, even with that, it should be fine. But like, you
Honestly,
know,
though, why are people of all the things to buy, all the things to stock up on, they're picking toilet paper? I
I
genuinely
guess
don't get it.
with toilet paper, you'd rather not be without that if you can't go out and get any.
I mean, people are more worried about wiping their ass and feeding their families.
Yeah, like some people they're starting to go and stockpile food now too. But it just like this whole thing is, it's just showing how people actually act in real situations.
When the chips are down, we're all animals.
Yeah, like it shows that for as much as people think that society has really progressed, as soon as you start taking away some of these things that we hold dear, like the ability to go out and about, go to restaurants, go to bars, go to really other countries and travel. It shows how really vulnerable we are with like a small supply chain, like for at least starting out as a relatively small supply chain disruption.
Yeah.
But other than that, it just what else would it really have showed? Oh, probably one of the biggest things, the ability to do work from home.
Yeah, so let's
Like
talk about the remote working in education.
like for the longest time, like remote work, a lot of companies they really don't like that. They were like, people will look down on it and they'll think that people won't get work done. But when you actually have to work remote or possibly not work, it shows
Hmm.
that people are willing, like you're completely able to do that. So this is going to be a real test to see if it works, and
And if people like
for
it.
such a long time. I think a lot of people won't be wanting to go back to the office after this. Like it'll show the need to go and reform some of these policies, especially at bigger legacy companies where they might have like a work from home policy, but it's like really archaic. You might only be able to work like from home once a week or something, or only if there's an emergency. But now, if you can show that you can do this, it'll have potential ripple effects. So you will see a proliferation of from home for a lot of companies that might not have had it beforehand.
Well, I think, it's funny because I was applying to some internships and one of them has remote working. I'm like, oh, perfect timing. And I got an internship, so that was good. Haven't signed off on it because I'm looking at other things. But, um, you know, I think there's a lot of jobs where you can do remote working. A lot of them you can't. But I think for the ones that do, people can be like, oh shit, I can just sit home, like check the Facebook, on Twitter, eat Cheetos, and my boss won't know or care. And I think for some it might be, the only thing I worry about, and this is the same problem with education, is that I think online is the future for education, like Khan Academy style stuff for a lot of things. I mean, 90% of what I did at Penn State could be done online. But I'm worried this could either make or break online and remote learning and working. Because for education, for example, it sounds like we're going to be doing classes on Zoom, which I think will work fine. But these teachers, if they're putting their courses online and they haven't done it before really, they don't really know how to do it well, and it's a terrible rollout, this could make people hate online education. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen, even though it is technically better if done properly.
Yeah, that's the issue with Penn State, and I think another sort of benefit is it shows how greedy some of these colleges can really be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And like how much of this could like because like listen with Penn State, and I know we talked about this beforehand. They really dropped the ball on a good lot of things in regards to this. Like they should have, honestly, they should probably cancel, like do something, postpone or cancel this, the remaining in session semester and just have it go on. Acknowledge that this isn't going to be over in weeks.
Well, they are
But
doing it online.
well, no, but like I mean, they still said that like they think it's going to be done by April. Like realistically, that's not happening.
I don't know anymore, honestly. I mean, my
Well,
optimistic side.
I mean that football coach's salary isn't going to pay for itself. I mean, neither is neither is the president's bronze statue of himself.
Oh,
Yeah,
fucking
that's
A.
not going to pay for itself either.
That's real,
Someone's
isn't
got
it,
to pay
right?
for that. Huh?
That's real, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
that's real. Look, Google that shit.
I saw it, and I'm not gonna lie. I thought, because I think I saw an Onward State, so I thought it was like a joke. But then I was like, no, this is real, isn't it? No, it's just, oh, fuck, it is. Yeah.
And here's the thing too: is that like all these student fees that you have over here, like really it shows how like the fact that they're not refunding that, because honestly a good portion of your student fees should be refunded since you won't be able to actually see it.
Yeah.
Like just the fact they're not refunding all these things like immediately shows how bad Penn State's really dropping them. So other schools, like I think Pitt, they're like I mentioned before, I believe they already announced that they were giving a refund of like 33%. So for Penn State to be dropping the ball, especially with another PA school, it's really telling like where their priorities lie. But honestly, this could be great for the fact that most of these courses could be done remotely, but it could also definitely give people the bad impression because Penn State, for having all this online infrastructure, these teachers weren't, to my knowledge, a lot of them probably weren't even trained on how to do a remote class. Like
No.
I think most teachers should at least have like one remote class just so if something like this were to happen, they'd be able to go and teach it.
Well, that's one thing I want to mention also is how do you guys think we're going to see future pandemics at this scale, large or small? Do you think this is going to, like, because people are saying this is the new normal. For now, obviously, yes, it is. But will we actually have to deal with this stuff more in the future, or is this just a one-off case?
Historically, yeah, it's going to happen again. I mean, if we learn, this would be a good time to go and learn so you'll be able to make decisions quicker because now, like, this was unprecedented for the modern era, but now people are going to know what to do. So it might not be as widespread as this. Hopefully, people would immediately stop trade to China and travel to China until they get this contained. But I do feel that this could be, I don't know how normal it'll be, maybe once every decade, 50 years, but it's definitely going to happen again. This is not the last pandemic that we're going to have as a country and as, world community.
Mm.
And I must say, I am so thankful that Donald Trump is our president during this time.
Yes.
Look how many other countries are totally fucking it up. I mean, Canada's fucking up. Italy's fucking up. Most of Europe is fucking up. Like, I'm like, and all of these guys are like, you have all France. France is really fucking it up too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I'm like, look, basically the beacon of American freedom is the one that's handling it the best out of everybody. Like, there's no coincidence. Like, look, I look at how judgmental everybody is. Like, fucking who's Canada? Justin Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
See how he's fucking up. I see how Emmanuel Macron, see how he's fucking it up, and I don't know who Italy's leader is. They're fucking shit up too. I'm just like, thank God. Spain's dropping the ball too. I'm like, look, we got, man, boy, we lucked out with Donald Trump, man. We need 4 more years of that guy.
Dude, we need fucking 8 more years. But when Italy goes through a depression, I think they're going to swing hard right. And you're going to see populist leaders rise up on the right in Italy. And people like Salvini are just going to be one of a few.
Well, here's the thing. They're getting really, really, really cozy with China. Like, really cozy. They signed the Silk Road Agreement against unbeknownst to the US or the EU. And so, like, you have and you had China trying to send medical supplies to Italy, which was kind of confusing too, because it's like, oh yeah, sorry, we started this fucking epidemic. Here's a couple of first aid kits. They may work or they may not. I don't know, but here they are anyway. Like, what the fuck?
And then they threatened us, like, to not send us valuable, I think, medical stuff or drug stuff.
Like, whatever.
Like, these people are, like, China is really showing the true colors in this, and I hope people finally wake up.
Yeah.
People forget that China, like what the Chinese did during the SARS outbreak, they forget how they kind of just throw things under the rug.
Like,
and honestly, I hope that China's held accountable for it, because if they would have raised the alarm bell like they should have when this originally happened, we wouldn't have need to go and basically shut down the world for the next, potentially few months.
Yeah.
So this is going to be just decimating small businesses left and right. Like, hopefully, I don't know what Trump can really do about that, but hopefully Congress gives him a package that can, basically keep things afloat.
They're looking
'Cause
at
if you're
payroll
from
tax cuts, stimulus packages, stuff like
well,
that.
'cause like you might need to go and do that for these small
Yeah.
businesses. Like basically just pause their debts until at least they can, like, especially in like the tourism industry, the air. And that's another thing too, is it kind of showed some of the bullshit rules with the airline industry. Because I think
Oh,
for the
yeah.
EU, you want to go and keep a flight, you had to go and keep, like, if you want to keep your flight schedule, you had to go and keep sending out planes. So even during the fucking coronavirus, I think until recently, like air companies had to go and like fly fucking ghost airplanes out with no one on it, or like very limited people, just so they didn't lose their very valuable time slot at airports within the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of showed how bullshit of a law that was.
Now, it's also remember too that people that have lost their flights, people that have been, their flights been canceled, not all of them are getting refunds. I saw a guy on Twitter named Jay's 2 Cents. He's a big tech YouTuber. I've followed him for years. He planned a first-class flight for a special holiday vacation with his family, and Delta Airlines isn't refunding him a penny. And even though I think they said they would initially, somebody I know personally who was going to fly from here to Belgium and do a layaway in the UK, she is only getting 80% of her flight refunded. And I think she's with American Airlines. I'm not sure about that, so don't boycott them yet, people. But they're trying. I know what they're doing. They're looking at this and going, "Shit, we're gonna be losing a lot of money. Let's pocket as much as we can without pissing that people off that much. Let's take a 20% cut." Because I mean, you should be getting a full refund. I mean, 80% is still like, better than nothing. But shit.
And I think during like a national air, there should be some sort of fund set up to go and like maybe even give people fucking assist them with the refund. Because I can get, it's really tough for an airline to go, especially like budget airlines. People that like airlines that run on tight margins to go and cough up that. So maybe this could spawn some sort of like relief fund where they'll put money into it when they're doing fine. And then when things like this happen, it'll just be like taken from that fund to go and pay for canceled flights. Because they should be getting 100% refund. Honestly. But yeah, like it's just kind of showing all these like cracks in the system and how we can go and patch it. Like that's kind of the one good thing from this. It's showing the true colors of the world, what things are working, what things are definitely not. So I think in some ways, there's definitely some like benefits and lessons learned from this event. Definitely negative, but it's not all negative. There's always a silver lining.
I want to mention real quick, importantly, we have a viewer in the chat. Matt Simcoe says, blood for the blood god. Words of advice. Definitely in our corona virus survival guide.
Not quite like the Ebola survival guide. That's kind of, this whole thing is kind of making me think. Let's say society did actually collapse. I'm surprised, and maybe the government has one telling people about. Like, we should probably have some sort of like template out there for how to like get society back up to a operating point as close to what we're at right now as possible.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, I don't know, I was bored the other day and I was getting pissed at Star Wars, so I started like looking into like Warhammer 40K lore, and they had something like that. I think it was called like an SCP, where it was basically it's fucking future, like 40,000 years in the fucking future. So it's obviously taken some artistic liberties with certain things, but they had this setup over there where you can go and like they had these things called SCP, and it was like this AI bot, and it could basically build everything to go and make society back to what it is. But sort of now we don't have obviously that technology, but like if we could kind of have like a fucking template of how to get society from like basically survival after like a major disaster, up until the point that we were basically like skyscrapers, internet, fucking power generation. That's something that should definitely be looked into and probably invested in. Because like even if we don't have a society like collapse, it would be something good to have if we ever like get to the point of colonizing planets, just to kind of like build that infrastructure, have it down to going how to rebuild society from nothing into what we have now. Like, hey, this is from like the little things like, hey, here's like a dictionary over here. Here's how you go and say shit. Here's what berries you should and shouldn't eat, at least for Earth, that would work. To like, hey, this is how to go and build complex network infrastructure to create like the internet. Hey, this is how to go and like, make steel.
Well, don't we
Here's how to
have
go and like,
Wikipedia?
well, if there's no internet, what are you gonna do?
That's true. I mean, maybe we could
And what
create some sort of like permanent database, but what you're describing though, I mean, it sounds like a movie, but like what we're living in feels like a fucking, apocalyptic pandemic movie or zombie apocalypse movie. Like it's fucking crazy.
Well, it's something that should have been thought of long ago. Like, honestly, this thing should have been in the works for years. And you could go and have it, and it would have to be in a format where people wouldn't need a computer to read it. So it's going to be probably big. But, like, what
I
you
don't
could
think
do
you
is,
could make something big enough, honestly. I think you'd have to, like, well, Elon Musk tweeted out a few days ago, appropriately, occupy Mars. And you'd have to put it on some other planet or somewhere on the, on this planet, like, in a
well, I'd have it
safe.
in multiple places. So, like, the first,
Yes.
like, you could have certain copies, but there should definitely be a master copy that's not on any sort of internet medium. Because one, like computer media, that's destroyed over time due to various things. But if you had it like, I don't know if you could have it like etched in stone or something,
But how
because
could you
that
keep
would.
updating it? That's the problem. How could you, like, update it?
Well, I would just try to go and like update it maybe every like 50 years, maybe every.
50 years? What if you have, like, a problem? Like so many things have changed in 50 years. Like, and if you have a problem within that time span and you don't know how to do something, like, that would be catastrophic.
Well, it would be you'd still be building society up to the point of like 2020. You can build it like once you get up, and this would just be like sort of basic infrastructure. Now you won't have like Apple necessarily, but you would have very similar things. So like you at least need to have something to get to this point, like 21st century. You could really probably update every 100 years, but like the cost, it would be a lot. But like the first part, you probably want to be etched in stone and get people up to the point where they can build like optic systems to the point where they could go and like read like micro like inscriptions, and then you could go and make things a lot more compact. So it'd sort of be evolving like progressively. You'd have to read this to a certain point in a progressive manner.
Right.
But like the basic survival things, like hey, here's how you're gonna make iron and stuff. That'd be in pretty like relatively decently sized text. But then once you start getting like past the optical level, it'd basically say, hey, you're gonna want to create a microscope, and you'd have how to build a microscope, how to go and build all that equipment, like at least like a basic like 1700s microscope that could go and view shit. Like that's tiny. You would have that in there, and then from then on you could have things like micro size, and then maybe at a certain point after you get to the creation of computers you could have it even smaller. But I'd be hesitant to do that because at least with like stone and maybe even like certain like microfiche like films, those things can last like tons of
Or
time.
if you could, like, laser etch it in, like, some sort of, like, I'm not necessarily stone, but something like that, so like a machine could do it real quickly. But I think it's a bit impractical because you need so much. I mean, just look at an encyclopedia; it's barely scratching the surface, and those things are already pretty big. I mean, if you had even had, I mean, you'd have to have literally a lot. I mean, look at libraries alone. Like, shit, I just jumped to, like, a library has only a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of the information that's on the internet.
Well, how much is actually necessary for society too? Because you get your fiction, you get your history, you get your biographics, you get like
Well,
all
let's
this
just use
stuff.
Wikipedia. How about that?
Well, how much stuff in there is actually like necessary to build a society versus how
Probably
much?
a lot, honestly, because, like, if you want to build, I mean, it depends what you want. If this is a template for society, or if it's, I mean, I don't even know where you'd start. Like, what is the template? Where does it start? Because we've made so many advancements. You'd say, well, we got to include this then, and we got to include that because this has been, innovated.
Well, it would just be like the most important things to get us to basically where we're at now. So I mean, you need to have like sure you need to have like all your mathematics in there. You know, you're gonna need to have a dictionary at some point just to kind of like you're gonna want a dictionary in case they don't have any at that point because that was probably making the first dictionary was a pain in the ass. But like you're gonna want to have those basic sort of technology and like how to do things. I mean, it's going to be big, but it's something that I think as a society we're going to want to have that because if we don't have that in some sort of permanent media, and you could always make a backup, you can make tons of backups like electronically, like that's perfectly fine. Include other like shit that would be nice to have, but not necessary in them too, like as well. But you're going to definitely want at least one, probably multiple, probably one for every continent, and it's going to be big, but it's going to be something that people will want like years from now, like potentially if we ever did have a complete societal collapse, instead of like having to go through another 2,000 years of building everything from the fucking bare bones to like now, we'd be able to do it in like less than 100.
How long do you think this coronavirus is going to last? How long do you think we're all going to be shut down like this, at least in the States and like has separated states and the world?
I'm thinking probably a couple months,
Really?
maybe 3 months,
Do you think we'll
maybe
flatten
less.
the curve, as they're saying?
I think we are now. Like I think what we should be doing is like encouraging people to go and wear respirators, some variety in public.
Yeah, but we don't have
Like
enough.
well, that
It depends. Like it depends. So like for something like this, it's like, well, if a vaccine is needed, right? Like if a vaccine is eventually needed for something like this, or if they can find that out, then odds are I'd almost want to get people sick on purpose just so they could get sick, get over it, and then build their immune system up to it up until like because at least it buys you some time until they can get
Yeah, but
vaccine or whatever. I know I'm not saying do it like I'd say do it
if you have
if
absolutely
that's
zero
if you
contact with
know.
elderly people.
Well, no, I'm saying if you do that, if you know that a vaccine is going to need to be required
well, hold
to be
on.
able to get
That's a
over it.
question
If
too.
it's something, if this thing is something that like is going to need to be taken care of via medication, then that's another thing. But I think we really don't know enough about how this whole thing is going to be taken care of. If there's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, but
So if
aren't you
it's a
just going to
vaccine,
spread it to vulnerable people by catching it?
Well, hold on. I think the biggest thing that'll determine how long this is if we can get a vaccine or not.
Well, we're working on one, but it's not going to be
Well, how
ready
long?
till next year.
yeah.
Well, if it's going to take a whole year for that to go down, then we might be doing this for a while.
Yeah,
Now, if we have the
but
whole world working on it together as a conjoined effort, we might be able to lower that significantly.
no, you can't. You physically can't because it's got to be tested. That's what
Okay.
Fauci's been saying, is that we literally are going as fast as we can because yes, everybody's working on one, but the CDC one and a lot of other ones they are working on now, but they got to put it through testing so that you can take it and not die or have some sort of other issues. And that
For something like this, we might have to cut some corners.
well, we're fast tracking it, but you can't fast track
We
it
are
too
fast
much.
tracking it because you have to understand that under a normal vaccination that those things take
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
A lot of those take years. We are cutting corners right now. We're doing it like it's already happening, and so it's going to take at best probably a year. So I would assume that like if you're older, you're probably going to have to be quarantined a lot more
Yeah.
than if you're not, like, and that's going to be that might have to be the reality of it.
And the thing
Well, I think
too
what might
is,
happen too, I think at some point, because it grows exponentially, but once people have been infected, And after this, they have 2-week long quarantine periods where once that's done, you're generally recognized as safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in a couple months, most people either have gotten the disease or the people who have become infectious will no longer be infectious.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
I think we're going to beat the vaccine because of the
But we don't.
self-distance.
But I'm not sure. Like, do we know? Do we know though if once you get like, because typically, like
If there's
once
an
you get
immunity.
sick, yeah, once you get sick, then your immune system builds up to it for a certain period of time.
Right.
Like the flu, right? Like if you get a shot, you're immune to it for a little bit. Like if that's going to be the case with this thing, is it going to be the same thing? And if so, then again, are you going to want to get purposefully sick so you can get, you can get through it and then you can be clear of it for however long you're going to be clear for it for, like at least until, like, I don't know, they find enough of time to be able to build a vaccine for it or something.
I'm not going to lie. I don't
Yeah,
know if
like
there's
I don't think
immunity.
anybody. I'm not sure anybody knows right now.
Yeah.
Like, well, except for maybe a couple of people.
That might
And
also be the big fear that's driving this thing, because I've said for a few weeks now, I've never seen such a reaction to something like this. That, yeah, it is probably a bit more deadly than the flu, yes, but not that much. There are other things that are far more, that have far higher mortality rates. So I wonder if there's something they're not telling us about this virus, and that's what's driving this
Could be more
fear.
deadly than. Well, here's the thing too. It's like the information about it's been really kind of fucked up, and I think a lot of that has to go. The Chinese are trying to cover their ass on this.
Yes, yes.
So we're having that problem.
'Cause
So now we're kind of picking up the pieces, and people are finally starting to realize, like, hey, this might not be what they told us it was going to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, is that the Chinese have covered the... Because look, the fact that they're covering it up tells you there's something bad here, okay? So what is it that's bad? Is it the spread? Is it the lack of immunity? Is it the mortality rate? What the fuck is it? We don't know, really. At least not yet. But I think we're going to probably beat this thing before we have a vaccine. And what I mean by that is, I think, like kind of Phil was saying, is that we're going to do all this self-quarantine, this social distancing, everything shutting down, to the point that we will have, I don't want to say eradicated the virus from the country, but put it under pretty tight control. That unfortunately people will die, people will get it, people will have problems, but when it's all said and done, it will be mostly gone from here, because it's just we've gotten rid of it through that. I mean, it's possible. That's probably going to be the quicker thing based on the measures we're taking, but we might have to take more drastic action. That's what's actually kind of frightening. I mean, look at how far Italy's gone, how far France is starting to go, and all these other countries. I mean, let's remember that Angela Merkel, I mean, who we are obviously not fans of, she thinks 70 to 80% of the German population is going to be infected, and she's I think a physician, an ex-physician, or she has some sort of medical background. That's fucking frightening to think that 80% of a country could get infected with this. 80%.
I think that could be the case here too.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, you have to consider this too.
We are different countries.
Germany's a lot more compact than we are. People use public transit a lot more than we do. So I think not every country is going to be the same. However, we're probably going to have, I heard, between like 40 and like 70%, which I think
I've heard that too.
Is probably more likely. Now, for a country like Germany, where everyone big cities, she could be right.
Yeah,
she could be. She honestly could
be. I mean, we do have a lot of. I mean, we already do kind of have a, isolated life too, in our country versus everywhere else.
Yeah,
like a lot of us have our own automobiles. Like a lot of us have our own, our own places to live, and we can kind of like stay amongst ourselves, and like if we're sick, we can kind of stay away from outside life. Whereas, in Europe, there's a lot of intermingling, like with public transportation and work environments, and
Right.
just public outings and stuff like that. Like there's a lot more commingling. So if one person gets sick, the chances of a whole bunch of other people getting sick are really fucking high over there. Versus over here, I think it'd be slower, just because
Our way of life.
of our way of life is just different from theirs.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah, because like even in Italy, I remember like on American Pickers when they went over there, like everybody greets each other by basically hugging each other, and it's like fake side kissing. I don't even know what to call it. Like we do a handshake here, but do you guys think handshaking is going to disappear? Some people say handshaking is now
No.
extinct.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
agree. I don't think it's going away either.
no. I think
If
I
you
think
get
within
like kissing shit like some countries do, that might at least temporarily go away. Now, something like that might become more permanent if these sort of things happen in the future. But handshaking is pretty, like, it's not that bad compared to some of the other methods.
And it's also a very like I don't know. There's something that feels right about it. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine like going up to like an employer and doing like a fist bump or doing a fucking like arm tap? Like, it just wouldn't feel right. You know what I mean?
No, I
Yeah.
think within a year, this whole thing's going to be a chapter at most a year. I think at most a year, this thing's done. Like, well, not done, but it would be like containable,
Contained.
like every other thing out there, like the flu, like H1N1, whatever.
Yeah, it eventually will be. It's just how long and how fatal. That's those are the two questions I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this will kind of, with the vaccine sort of issue, I think this probably will end up teaching us lessons that are necessary for that.
You wanna
Like,
Blair White actually had a good tweet about this. You wanna who's absolutely silent right now? Anti-vaxxers.
Yep. That was the I was good. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, these fucking I bet these fucking anti-vaxxers are are wanting to get their vaccines now.
Yeah.
Shit.
Trust
yeah,
trust vaccines when I am actually scared.
well, that's the thing, though. Like, I don't know. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'll get whatever vaccines I need, I suppose. But like, I'm just concerned. Like, my only thing is I don't like the government forcing people to get shit like that. You
Oh, I
know?
See,
understand.
you're thinking of it in a different facet. Like you're thinking of it like
Mandation.
I don't want the government mandating or controlling what I do or how I deal with whatever I have or whatever I don't have. Like some of these other people are just like they just don't like believe it that
Vaccines
vaccine like
work.
they don't believe that vaccines work despite hundreds of years of fucking research that
To
back
be
it up.
fair,
Like,
there's been some really there's been some really
look,
interesting things.
not everyone. No, okay, so I can
Hashtag
concede
not
that
all.
not everybody, not all the vaccines work the same or as effective, but the whole like there are a lot of good ones there.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, I don't know, but my only concern, like, yeah, my main concern is the federal government mandating something. That's always been
Yeah.
sort of my issue because this happened in Israel of all places, like where they actually got caught giving people what they thought was a vaccine, but was actually a shot that would prevent them from conceiving a child.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It was like
Jesus
the
Christ.
Depot shot, which
That's
if you don't
awful.
know what that is, that'll prevent you from having kids
Yeah, but isn't
for
that
like
temporarily? That's for
some people. Yeah, some people can have negative reactions, become infertile.
yeah.
But
They
even
need to
then,
they need
that's
to give
fine.
those they need to give those to liberals.
Hey, don't
Well, they
don't give away our plan.
Dude.
well, you can get that over here voluntarily, but
Yeah, but I mean, I need to forcefully give them that shot.
that's the thing. Like,
It's
you know,
progressive.
I'm all fine if you want to take something, but like when you know, you're having like fucking Kool-Aid, but it's actually arsenic. You know,
Like,
maybe that's a bad example, but like you give someone like fucking fucking roast beef, but it's actually like made out of like fucking vegan meat or something.
I feel like liberals are. I feel like leftists are traitors. That's what I kind of feel like, because I'm like, like especially, and we were chatting about this the other day. Like, there are people out there that are hoping that this president fails
Yeah.
in a national emergency. How fucked up in the head do you have to be to root against the leader of your country in the middle of a global pandemic? You're sick in the fucking head. Like, you're either or either you're sick in the head, or you're not a part of this country. Like, you're not in on this country. And so, and if that's you, get the fuck out, right?
Yes.
Get out. Go to one of the 100+ other countries out there. I'm sure one of them will be happy to take you, or not.
Mm.
I don't know.
Dude, that's been pissing me off too, because on September 12th, 2001, we had probably the most unifying day in American history. Now, we have CNN attacking the president constantly, negative 24/7. We have people on social media tweeting hashtag worst president ever, 24/7 all the time. Just constant hate. It's like, can't we just like put this shit aside and realize he's the man in charge that can actually help us get us out of this, and we should actually cooperate as a country and work together to, get through this. And that's also, I want to mention something else too in regards to that, which is that many people think Trump can do everything. They think, oh, this isn't being done because of Trump. Trump didn't do this. Trump should have done that. Do you realize how much power the state governments have right now? It's the state governments that are shutting shit down, really. A lot of this shit.
well, yeah,
And
that's
also
why we have a
voluntarily.
whole 10th Amendment. You know, people
Yes.
forget about that all the time.
And it's also very voluntarily. Like, schools, so many schools, I mean, like Penn State, any university, they're all doing it on their own. It's not from orders from the man in the Oval Office. They're just doing this because they think it's the right thing to do, or they've consulted the CDC or whoever. Everybody thinks everything comes back to Trump, and it just doesn't. He's arguably, he has the least power of anyone in all of this. I'm not saying he does or doesn't, but that's one way to look at it when you consider all the actions that have been done by other people.
And the people and the politicians that are creating this that are helping create this fucking frenzy, what letter do they carry? What letter do most of them carry?
Well, it's Democrat.
Yeah, like you look at Tom Wolf, who's shutting all this shit down here in Pennsylvania, right? Shutting down the fucking casinos. By the way, fuck you for that one. All right, I'd fucking up my good time, man. What the hell?
He's
Now,
trying to solve the gambling addiction problem in America, one step at a time, one closure, one day at a time.
all I want. Now, look, I work, I pay my taxes, I make all the right decisions. I don't fuck up at all. All I want is my fucking casino, and you're fucking it up for me, dude. I don't care. All right, no, I'm just kidding. But I don't understand. Well, no, I mean, I do understand it, but it's like you look at the Champaign, Illinois shit where they're taking, they're banning gun sales and shit. You're looking at the one instance where the guy gets shot because they're trying to red flag law some motherfucker.
That was Potomac, Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland. Yeah, the Maryland case. Look, all of these guys, these are all policies that are enforced by Democratic leaders. They're all Democratic leaders that are
and this is my biggest concern with red flag. And I brought this up before, and this is one of my things with Dan Crenshaw, which I do not support his take on that whatsoever. In theory, it might seem like it's the right thing to do, but what those laws cause is the death of someone who was, whether or not he should or shouldn't have a gun, that's separate sort of thing. But he wasn't. He was asleep. And you go and raid his house, no knock raid. You start shooting through it, and it not only kills him without due process. They didn't even try to go and arrest him. The dude was fucking asleep. They shot they destroyed property. They injured his girlfriend. Potentially. Yeah, I think it may have his parents or something too. So it was a citizen who was an economically productive citizen, and they just completely killed him over some fucking red flag law. They talk about gun reform. We need to go and have fucking police reform with this shit.
Yeah.
I'm usually pro fucking police, but when you have no knock raids and shit like this, that's what really grinds my gears. As someone who was, it seemed like he was being a fine person. Whether or not you should have the guns, okay, that's a separate thing. When you take a look at the actual gun laws in this country and realize that people can have their Second Amendment stripped away for things which aren't even firearm or sexual violation, serious fucking issues. You start doing this, and honestly, I think it makes people see these Democrat politicians for what they really are, fucking wolves in sheep's clothing.
We should have our friend from Penn State hold a gun march in protest of that, since his last one went so well.
Honestly, you should have that. Well, good luck in Maryland. It's probably a bad idea. But I don't think Penn State's the place. This is something, and people talk about having people from different communities come together for one thing. For similar issues. I don't see why people aren't bringing this up. There's a lot of people who have problems with the police, and I agree with them. Things like this, and there's another case where a police officer shot some black dude who was legally concealed. He wasn't. It was using his car. They pulled him over and they shot him because he had a gun on him, even though he was licensed to do so. The firearms community needs to make a big deal about shit like this because it's becoming more and more common.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, this deserves a fucking protest.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people on the right that actually, I don't want to say they're anti-cop, but they don't trust cops, for lack of a better term.
Well,
and they bring up cases like this a lot.
Because stuff like this happens more, really once when this thing happens is more than, and with the Alex Jones things too. That was a whole issue because of, police officers escalating beyond what they should have.
Dude, what's up with cops? Because, when you think about it, cops you would think are Republican. They'd be cool with maybe Alex Jones, or at least okay with him. And they're in Texas, and they do this shit. I'm not gonna lie, I don't get
you'd be
cops.
surprised, Texas, man. It's not what everyone fucking says it is all the time. You get a lot of conservative parts, but you also have some liberal parts, and you have Alex Jones, and he's the fucking.
You have Austin, you do have Dallas and Austin and sometimes Houston. You get some of these liberal areas. These liberal sects of the state, which that happens. In major cities,
it's everywhere.
You just have that. You just have a whole bunch of people that just want a bunch of uneducated idiots that want free shit. But I mean, that there's more to, obviously there's more to the state than that. But I feel Alex Jones, you're in Austin, you're in a liberal, you're a red-blooded Texan, but you are in a liberal city.
In a liberal city.
You're in a liberal city. And I mean, and to be fair, not every conservative likes him either.
Yes.
I'm not saying that that's good or bad, just saying that, hey, it is what it is.
One other thing I want to mention, because it started making me think about these things, because I bet if anybody that is a loyal listener has made it this far into the stream, they will know that I'm a Turning Point president at Penn State, and we were planning some events with our new Uncensored America Club. We're working on that. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. I have some backup plans in mind and hopes and aspirations. We'll see what happens, but dude, like everything is so screwed up right now. Like I don't even know if I'm gonna walk in graduation at this point, even though I'm supposed to, even with
Yeah,
the
awesome.
suspension.
How do you think Penn State should have handled this?
Okay,
I want to hear from your perspective.
you want to hear my hot take?
Yeah, if you were President Barron, and let's say this was about to go down your son's spring break, what would you have done?
Well, if I was President Barron, how I would have handled this is, um, I would have given a few weeks off, like he's doing. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't gung ho about this initially. I mean, I viewed it as a good compromise to what I wanted. I wanted initially just let's not even have spring break. Let's just stay there. But I guess that's a bit more impractical. But whatever. I think what he did was fine with the 3 weeks off. Um, I think that sounds plenty fine. What I would do is I would say we have this time off. Let's do what we can online because there's a lot of people that need to do labs. Med students need to do their shit. Athletes, gym classes, and like a bunch of other classes that need to be wrapped up more in person. And you do that, but we come back if professors want to, if people need to. It's kind of maybe an optional time, I guess you could say. We're over the summer, and maybe you'd have to cancel summer semester. I mean, it might even get canceled anyway at this rate. But maybe you have to cancel summer semester to do this. But give people a few weeks to come back and finish their shit properly. Have career fairs, have job opportunities, have all that sort of shit that's been canceled. The success in the city that was supposed to happen in New York City for ad majors is all fucked now. That's a big opportunity for people to land jobs. It's not happening now. So have that, during that, like, maybe it needs to be 2 weeks. I don't know. Maybe this needs to be in May, June. I don't know. We'd figure it out as the time gets closer, but that would be the game plan. And then have a weekend for graduation. I mean, I know I'm a senior, so I'm going to be feeling this pain extra hard, but all the seniors out there are feeling this pain. And I look, I know the first comment that I'm going to get is, well, life's not fair, but this genuinely isn't fair when you pay $120,000 and you don't get to fucking do graduation. I mean, that's literally just the whole point of this thing is to get to that point. And to be robbed of that experience is really just tragic, honestly. And people have all kinds of clubs that need to transition to new leaderships. Like ours doesn't hold elections, and I don't want to be like the CRs and have to violate our constitution or something to wrap it up and to transition to power. I mean, I don't even think a Zoom meeting would count as an in-person election, but it might be what we have to do, and I don't want to do it that way. But that's what I would do if I was President Barron. I would put the university on pause like the rest of the world is doing, do what we can online, come back for a few weeks. Maybe it's optional, where you can do career fairs, where you can do all kinds of stuff, graduation, wrap things up, transition to clubs, do your big events like we want to do, and everybody would be happy. It would be postponing the end of the year, and it's worth it, honestly. I mean, maybe even do it in the fall. I don't know at this point, but just fucking do it, you know? What do you think of
Yeah,
that?
I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, for me, Barron, I probably brought up some of this. I would definitely offer some substantial refunds for people who lived on campus. I'd have an immediate refund. Like first, I'd acknowledge that this probably isn't going to blow over within a month or two. Like this is probably going to end up at least May at the earliest. So I would have people come back, and I'd go and have it so that people coming back home, they'd be given a time slot specifically for them, and they'd have some administration people work with these students to find the most equitable time frame to come back and get all their stuff, because that's most likely what's going to happen. I would then, if you had a dorm, I would go and prorate it, so you wouldn't have to go and pay anything for the time that you weren't in your dorm. I would refund the student activity fees. I'd prorate activity fees, prorate. I'd completely remove the gym membership fee you had to go and pay, since you're not able to go and use the gym. Or I'd maybe even have an option, like within reason, for certain things, like maybe try to go and work out a deal with YMCAs of people who live nearby if they really want access. But I mean, honestly, now it's probably not good to just prorate that.
Well, gyms are already closed.
Yeah, so that's had to be prorated because they can't access that. If you had a parking pass, if you lived on campus or off, because those could be substantial, I'd just refund the whole fucking fee for that, honestly, or at least prorate it. For tuition, I would go and move I'd just go and change it. So I'd only be paying for the World Campus fee, because especially since so much activities towards like the final, I'd just remove, like, even if you did do some of your classes on campus, it should be entirely moved to the same fee as World Campus.
I
due
agree.
to significant disruption. And you should have the option, if you failed a class that was changed to online, you should be able to have the option to go and retake it during the fall semester and be credited for your attempt. Like, you shouldn't have to go and pay extra to go and retake it, because some people, they don't learn very effectively online. They didn't sign up for that. So if they end up failing, they actually tried, that should definitely be part of that. If they had a significant problem with their living arrangements, like some people, they might not have anywhere else to go. Like there's students out there who aren't your traditional students who were counting on this as a place to live. They should be given their dorm as an option if they have nowhere else to go.
Well, that is, I think, an option for some people right now.
So I would definitely, like, if he's doing that now, perfect. Like, especially for international students, but like even if you're not international, if you don't have anywhere else to go, it should still be a thing. Honestly, whatever remaining funds you have for your dorm, like your food, if you lived on campus, you should have two options. One, you should be able to have a complete refund of whatever remaining amount you have. That'd be option one. And two, you should be able to have it roll over into the next year if you so choose to, which is not going to be applicable to everyone, but it would be an option if you want to, if you're going to be living on campus next year. Because here's the thing, it's not even just seniors who would be affected by that. Like, because a lot of people, they just live their first year on campus because they're required to, and the next year they want to get off campus. So those people might not have a reason to keep that meal plan, so they should be able to have that completely refunded. Or if they wanted to, just have it roll over. Same thing for Lion Cash. If you had books, that you rented or whatever, and you're not going to be able to go back to campus to return those, they should be.
Mail.
What?
Well, a lot of these places, like the bookstore here, you can mail them, and I don't know if they cover it, but that's what Penn State should offer.
Well, yeah, that should definitely be covered. Yeah, that's another thing with the mail. There should be a free forwarding to students if they returned home. Now that's probably gonna be expensive, but it should happen, or they should have some way where you could sign up for a service where you can go and like scan your mail or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'd be that definitely would be possible for packages, but Penn State should be responsible for getting that mail sent to you. So even for international students, that's not fair to them. Definitely they should be making extra advisors available. Like, I don't know how that even works. Like, if you want to meet with your advisor,
they're doing them Zoom sessions right now.
All right, so that's that seems to be fine, but they should make more advisors available, especially for seniors and people who had internships, because these are trying times, and you might not have an internship, and certain graduation requirements. Because I know, like, I have a friend of mine who was on the air the one week.
The lost episode.
I'm gonna have to go and talk to him. We can see if he can come on at some point again. But
yeah.
No, like his major, they had to go and get like 1,000 working in the hotel industry. Now, thankfully, his was already done by the time this whole coronavirus thing came about, but some people might not have that done. And so, if you were like near there, they should go and work to go and make sure that you're able to get those done whenever this thing passes. That might include like extending visas, and if there's any fees associated with that, Penn State should bear the cost of that because that wasn't their choice.
Right.
If you were a student worker and you counted on your, on-campus job to go and make money to go and pay for rent for off-campus housing, really anything, they should be paying you at least like 2/3 of what you would have been making on an average to go and float you until this whole thing, like until you would have already like went back home for the summer anyway, because that's how people were dealing with that. That's what they were expecting. That's what they were given. So that should definitely be part of that. Yeah, no, and I think for summer session, they should, at least for the foreseeable future, have that go to World Campus entirely until this thing can be 100%, back to normal.
I might be
And for
doing that
graduation, they should give you the option of walking in either the fall semester or in the summer semester with everyone. Like they should give you the option to go and walk. And if you're an international student, they should provide some form of visa assistance for them to come back over here. Maybe even pay for the fucking flight, like an economy class flight. Like work something out, rent a fucking plane for like everyone within your country who's a Penn State student, like who's graduating this year, to get them like a discount rate for that. If maybe even free because they weren't able to go and walk, and everyone deserves. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's definitely not going to be cheap, but we need to do something. They should probably work with the athletic department to get like for sports, because some people, if this was their senior year, they miss their whole fucking season.
Yeah.
They should go and work with the other Big Ten schools and other people to go and like.
Some of these people have like professional aspirations, like
So
with some of these sports, it's like they got a lot riding on it. Where like the basketball, college basketball, like all of these guys are, anticipating maybe getting drafted or going to pro tryouts or something like that. And it's like this is throwing a wrench into all of it. And while it's hard to feel entirely sorry for somebody looking to make millions a year, but that's their prerogative. Like, look, that's their thing, and this,
Yeah, and Penn State should give them the option where if they wanted to, they should be able to go and if you really really wanted to, you should leave off at this point in the semester. Just be done with it until fall, and then be able to go back with no additional charges in the fall. Because especially for people like that, or maybe work out a deal where you still have like one more season left, something. Because and maybe not doing the whole just stop and drop, but maybe give it so that people who would have graduated and had certain events give people free admission, like alumni who would have graduated, free admission to career fairs, career services in the fall when things resume. People who are athletics work something out with the other schools so that those athletes would be able to go and attend, the fall semester, like during the fall seasons or the spring seasons of next year. Work within the system to go and create an exception, because this was an exceptional case.
This is beyond exceptional. That's what's pissing me off when I see like the University of Michigan canceling graduation. I'm like, Jesus, like those poor kids.
Well, they should just go and move it to the next available semester to walk and just have everyone go that semester if possible.
Yeah.
And if they're unable to do that due to whatever reason, you're going to want to, find some way to compensate people.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that, I mean, like you mentioned with the internship things and these other opportunities, even like some of the extracurriculars, like Penn State canceled the blue and white game. Imagine if you're a senior and you're like, oh, this could be my last blue and white game, or I've never been to one, I want to go to this one, and no, you can't. Like, I think they should do something over the summer that's kind of special and unique where we kind of finish our semester over the summer. Because, look, people's travel plans are already fucked. And if they do have
The
some of their.
problem with the problem with that though is people might have internship jobs.
Will they? I mean,
Yeah, they might
how
have
are
an
you going to have
internship.
one if you can't go to a career fair?
Well, no, I mean, if you like, see, you mentioned you already got like accepted to an internship. Like
That
some
is
people,
true, but it was a lucky, 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 lucky case where I
well, some
happened to
people
go
might
to a.
have jobs. You know, like I got like my internship when I was in the fall semester for the summer of that year. I mean,
Well,
it's pretty common for like seniors to either have internships or jobs in the summer, but there should be an option where they have, like
I
maybe a week or something, and they'd have cheap, like you can rent out like maybe during the summer, a week in the summer or like right after college, like in the late spring or whatever. Rent out, like have it after everyone leaves the dorms, like have it so that there'd be no people on campus. Rent out the dorms for a very cheap rate for 1 week where you can go and do all the senior events, like all the major senior events. Like they have the that music thing. I forget the name of it, where they have all the bands come out.
oh, is it like a Battle of the Band sort of thing?
Nah, it was like Onward, or it wasn't Onward, but like you mentioned that a while ago where they had canceled
Oh yeah, I do. I think I know
Move
what you're
On or
talking about.
whatever.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah. See
They
what
should
I.
have they should have something like that open.
Well,
Like where they have like during the summer maybe, late summer, try to go and do one of those, pull the blue and white game, and like all these like major like career fairs and stuff all during that week, if it's possible,
absolutely, and I
and then
think
have it. What?
employers should. I think employers should be understanding of this, and they should be a little bit more lenient on when you have to come. When they hire you, when you have to start your internship or work or whatever, because there's so many people in this boat, and it's like, I mean, come on. You only live once. You're only gonna have one senior year. Just fucking let people enjoy it.
Well, that's what I'd go and like let people do. I'd go and have people so they'd have the option to go and do those events during the summer, and you would be able to go and rent a or something for like a week, and they charge a very reasonable rate, like maybe like 200 or something for a week. I don't know how much would be appropriate,
Yeah.
like basically at cost. And have like if you did have your meal points and you still wanted to go and use them there, like maybe actually charge like a fair market rate for the food at the dorms, just so you can have like one last going away sort of thing for that 1 week. Have career fairs, have definitely have advisors over there, just so like if you have any special concerns like last minute, we can do that. But I think honestly they should give you an option, like where if you're a senior right now and you want to just go and wait for another semester, just to go and like give you like a 50% discount or something if you just go and do it during the fall.
Well, I think another thing I thought too when I was driving back in the car today is like there's a bunch of friends that I may not be able to say goodbye to. Like for me, I know it's a small thing, but it's like I don't think Penn State or a lot of these universities quite realize yet just all the big and little things that seniors uh, aren't getting because of this. And it's like, look, this is a freak exception. Like we should, for this 1 year, accommodate for this. I mean, I don't like when I see these universities just flat out canceling certain things kind of cold heartedly. It's like I understand this is a pressing time and we need to do all these quarantines and shutdowns, but can you give it some thought and can you at least say we're still gonna have these things at a later date, hopefully.
Yeah, they should be able to do it. I don't see why Penn State can't figure something out. I mean, it's Penn State. They're a world class institution, and there should definitely be some refunds and it should be not just the straight up proration. There should be some extra because this is a lot of hardship that a lot of people are having. Like national students, they're going to have a real tough time.
Yeah.
So there should definitely be some form of compensation for this.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, Penn State hasn't handled it well, but they haven't handled it as terribly as other places have. So I do give them that, but
I don't know. They still have. I haven't heard anything back at least, and that's especially they should like the meal plan thing. That's egregious.
Well, but the thing with meal plans that they're not mentioning, and I don't get why, is they changed the policy recently where you can, at the end of the semester, get all your money back. And I don't know why it's not being mentioned, but that's how I understood their policy change. So you should be able to theoretically just get all your meal points back and be done with it.
Yeah, no. I mean, you should be able to get back now. You were counting on that money to go and pay basically all your meals for the rest of the semester.
Yeah.
Like if you were actually like a struggling student, you might need that money to go buy actual food for your house. Or maybe even like, something like that. Maybe even sign up for like one of those like delivery where they deliver like Blue Apron or something. They should at least give you that money back. They should make those funds available immediately. And like I don't see like honestly I never really liked Penn State's meal point system because like other schools would just give you straight up meals. Like I don't see why Penn State couldn't do that. Like over here, it's like this weird like cash system, but the school takes at the end of the year.
Yeah,
At
well,
least when
no,
I
but
was
they
there.
they they changed that policy, and I want to double check that, but I remember very clearly seeing that they changed that policy where they don't take at the end of the year anymore. But it is a weird system because you get as a student like a big discount, and if you're a non-student, you don't. I don't really get the point of that. I bet there is some point that I just don't get, but that's how I understand it.
Yeah, like I never understood how they dealt with that because like I mean, you've eaten their food before. It's nothing special, but the prices they charge if you're a non-student, they're like astronomical. Like I remember when
Yeah.
I was a student, I was looking to go and eat there on campus one day, and it was like I've been paying close to $20 for fucking dorm food. Like, I could go to a fucking buffet, an all you can eat buffet, which honestly has food of about the same quality. Like, they had one brunch place up over there at a country club, and it was like $15 for Sunday brunch. And it was like, I mean, I've had the Sunday brunch at Penn State. It's good, but like this place, it was like fucking like really fancy. And it came with like, I think one or two free drinks, which itself probably would have been like $6. It was like alcoholic drinks. So like, it came with like a fucking Bloody Mary or like mimosa. And then you got like straight up, I think there was like chicken parmesan. They make some shit, which those you'll make omelets. But like these omelets, they do stuff they wouldn't do over at Penn State, and it was cheaper than if I would have paid for the Sunday brunch. I think as a non-student, because I think what is it for Sunday brunch if you're a non-student? I know it's not cheap. I think it's like $17 or something. And you don't get the drink.
Yeah, yeah. Penn State's prices have always been pretty egregious with the meal plans and the dining. I mean, I like the convenience. I like doing it. I just wish they were fair about it. But it's university. They rape you out the ass for like every fucking cost.
Well, the thing is, it's not even like a privately run profit college, but like looking at some of the fees over here, you'd think it fucking was. With all the fees you pay out there too, and like, isn't it true? Like for the campus dining, you have to go and pay like $1,200 that you don't even see. Like it goes just to go and pay the workers.
I think so, actually.
So like, how does that make any sense? Isn't that like why you pay for food, like to go and pay for the workers? Like, how can Penn State be so like egregiously expensive, but then you have like other businesses that have that are meant to make a profit where they cost less than what Penn State's paying. Like how the fuck does that make sense? Where Penn State's like more expensive than the fucking market.
Yeah.
It should be cheaper if anything. It should be subsidized. Because it probably is subsidized to a certain extent by all the money Penn State gets. It's not meant to make a profit. It's meant to go and feed students.
Yep.
Well, no, you have to pay for all these high-priced executives that work there.
Hey, Barron's only the third highest paid CEO, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, and you'd expect for someone who's the third highest paid CEO, and like he was specifically brought on because of the Sandusky thing, he should know something about crisis management. But what I'm seeing over here is not indicative of that. It seems almost like, some people, they thought this would sound like a good idea, so they tried it, but, it's really not that great, their whole take on this, from what I've seen. Like, I expected more out of Penn State, and you know, that's pretty sad when you see how great of an institution they were. Penn State, as much shit as I give them, they've done a lot of good things. They've done some bad things. But all in all, I was happy I spent my time and money there. Now, you know, looking back on it, I think my branch campus was a lot more efficiently run. But, it wasn't that bad with what Penn State was doing. And I like my degree, it holds weight. I've seen other universities that costed more that give out less. Like, I definitely think there's some things over here that could have been done better, like especially with this crisis. Like they really dropped the ball on it. And that's kind of another thing too, is like, we were talking about this earlier with CCSG. Like, it's funny that the fucking Commonwealth campuses are the only ones like actually making a big deal about it.
Yeah, they're
Like,
raising
where's
hell.
UPUA? Like, where the fuck's UPUA during all this? They're the undergraduate, whatever is the undergraduate student government over here, and they're giving less of a shit than the
we've said this. We've said this many times before. UPUA is the most useless fucking organization in Penn State.
Yeah.
There is no, like, if all of them took a Kevorkian cocktail, it would change nothing within the student body. Like nothing would change. In fact, might even improve.
I was gonna say.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think people in the UPUA actually get like some sort of stipend.
Really? For what?
Yeah, I was told this when I was in student government, because we were joking. We were talking about stipend, because why the fuck not? But yeah, I'm under. It's like there's a certain stipend, especially for like the e-board, and I'm trying to get fact check this.
I just found some small news, by the way, that would have been nice to have known, but whatevs. This is from the Collegian. Penn State extends temporary access to dorms. If students were unable to retrieve items from the dorms this past Friday, Sunday, and are not able to do so on Monday, Penn State Housing has given students extended access to their dorms during this period of online classes. According to blah, 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 blah. Oh, you can do it during the entire next 3 weeks?
Well, that's great. So they see, like, this is fucking,
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
They should have thought about this beforehand.
Because here's the thing, I think, you know what this is telling me, though? That they're not reopening.
Oh, yeah. Of course not.
That's what this is telling me, because if they're going to let people go in during those 3 weeks, spread all those germs, contaminate everything, I mean, what's the difference between people being there, honestly?
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm fucking on UPUA's website. They don't even have like fucking a valid certificate. Or like, it's not like HTTPS. Your connection to the site is not private. Oh, that's great.
I feel at home now. I feel comfortable.
You have to go and ask someone, but I heard that they had a stipend and they got some sort of money for this. And I have not seen them really bring this, like, really any sort of issues. Like, these people, they do so much less. And like, in general, like, University Park as a whole is pretty much.
Hey, they did condemn Sean's event. Okay, let's.
Oh yeah, so all that they do is
You can't say they didn't do it. You can't say they don't do anything because
they're worse than doing nothing. They just don't have
They
they
virtue
politically
signal.
charged events. It's such a
lots of virtue signaling.
That's very powerful. That's important work that let's be honest, nobody else in the university is doing.
Oh yeah, and another thing too is like a bunch of people in there. They're involved in like really freaky, like secret, like fucking organizations on campus. So it's like the fucking Illuminati.
Yeah, like Skull and Bones. Dude,
running the fucking student government.
I was getting some red pills on that shit. We're probably gonna get killed after this, and our channel's gonna be taken down, and I'm not gonna get a diploma. But I was talking to somebody that knows about that shit, and he was getting some inside knowledge on sort of the drama that unfolds. And Skull and Bones is obviously the establishment elitist, but there is a sort of unofficial secret society that's anti-establishment that's fighting Skull and Bones. And I was getting told about a lot of this right before break, literally the last day when we were leaving. I don't know what that's going to look like now because they're not going to have. Here, that's something else. How are UPUA elections going to happen? I bet they're concerned about that. But I bet they might not be at the same time because now Skull and Bones might rig shit more. But there's basically two forces here. There's the establishment Skull and Bones and this anti-establishment people. They're forming like a coalition to get into UPUA. It's actually fascinating, but
I'm surprised they didn't reach out to you beforehand.
Well, they didn't really reach out to me. I kind of started talking to somebody that was kind of asking for help from us and then gave me a little insight on the drama. I don't know how significant they think I am.
Hey man, you brought fucking some people to campus that I wouldn't, that I would not think anyone else would be able to handle that problem.
Well, we were gonna bring one more, and we're gonna see how that goes. But God, my senior book feels just incomplete. So incomplete. Especially if we don't do that. Like, that needs to fucking happen. Oh, it looks like Collegian's already writing articles about how Penn State students are taking to Twitter worried about graduation getting canceled.
Yeah, I saw an article about that.
Good.
Yeah, it's a real big thing. Your whole fucking senior year was kind of screwed over. Now you're pretty much just in this like limbo until you graduate on paper and then you're off to college. Like I really do feel for you and the rest of the students. Like, I'm glad. I mean, my senior year after the first semester, after the Trump election, it wasn't really. I don't know. It kind of took a back burner, and then I was all like, "Oh, I can't wait to graduate." There's some regrets I had, but
somebody sent out a tweet on this article. It was posting this article. It says graduation about to be like, and it shows the Call of Duty ceremony funeral, and says press F to walk across stage.
Yeah, I mean, they really kind of robbed that from you, and I don't really know. I mean, there's a lot of things Penn State really doesn't have. There's a lot of things that did have where they could have done things.
My problem is, I get everybody doesn't know what's going on. I get the confusion. I get that it's hard to predict yada yada, but there needs to be more communication because that's what I quickly noticed right around the time they were making this announcement was when people are panicking, they're worried, they're confused, and when they don't know what's going on, that just heightens it to another level. That exasperates the panicking and the hysteria. The only way to calm things down, to keep people happy, is to communicate more and to have a plan of some sort. To be like, hey, look, we want to have graduation, but if push comes to shove, we will probably look into these options. Like, just tell us what what you guys are thinking. Don't just kind of leave it all mysterious so we're all worried. Like, work with us. Like, to me, this has got to be a two-way street. Penn State seems to act like it's a one-way street, and that kind of annoys me.
Yeah, they just say, "Hey, it's my road," or no.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised no one's like brought up any legal issues here because some of these things that they're like really dropping the ball on like any sort of like refunds, partial or not. Those should be brought to the table because frankly, they deserve some sort of fucking refund for this.
Yeah. And I think also, uh, oh yeah, you'll like this. There were people stocking up at the creamery today. There's like a picture of somebody. Oh, I can actually just send this shit to you. What am I doing? Like of a fucking like a basket full of like ice cream. And actually, I should have gotten one. Well, the stores were closed anyway, but one of the stores had a March Madness 2020 T-shirt. Should have grabbed that because that would have been fucking like iconic in a weird way.
Mm.
Yeah, this shit's crazy.
Yeah, that's a shame that all this stuff's going on.
They just need to handle it fairly because it's like when something is out of your control and fucks everything up, you can't really like when you be unfair about like it's really gonna annoy people the wrong way when there's ways you can handle this because there's a lot of time over the summer. Some people's internships, it'll start in May and they end like in June, July, or whatever the fuck. Like, just think of a time that'll work best for most people, or give multiple times. I don't know. Like, you can do a lot here.
Yeah, I feel you. This whole thing. I don't know. It's just frustrating seeing Penn State do this. Like, just for your guys' sake. It's.
Yeah, I'll send you here's the image of the lines at my dorm, but this was before I got there. I don't know where they were. Oh, I guess they were lining up the Commons desk. Well, it turns out, I think they might have changed it after this, but it looked like they were giving people keys to go into their place or into the dorms. When I got there, they said, like, yeah, it's open. You can just swipe in and go in.
Yeah, I guess they thought this was a smart idea. Put a bunch of people in a crowd location when there's a virus outbreak.
Yeah, and all the stores downtown are closed. Like, when I go talk about Urban Outfitters, when I was there, nothing looked open. It was a ghost town. It looked like everything was shut down.
Yeah, I feel bad for the students that paid for like off-campus housing.
Yeah, yeah. My girlfriend was talking about that. She's got to pay quite a few pretty pennies for not living there now. I mean, that's rough.
Was it like, did they offer any sort of deal?
Not to my knowledge yet. I told her that I would mention that I would complain about that because you can get other people to too because this sort of shit needs to be dealt with.
I mean, this is a little bit different than on campus, though. I mean,
Yeah.
on campus you'd have more recourse, but if you're not living on
Mm-hmm.
campus, you're kind of screwed with
Yeah, because
that.
you signed a lease saying I'm gonna be paying for these months.
But at least with like, if you that's one good thing I guess with dorm is you might be able to get some of that money back.
Might be. We'll see. But those contracts are pretty stingent too.
Well, I mean, if they don't want you living there, though, that seems a little bit. I don't know. I think if enough people complain, Penn State has more money to go. They can take the hit because if they don't, it's going to hurt them reputationally. If some like bullshit like fucking housing place doesn't do that, no one's going to care. Penn State itself does it, then people are going to fucking consider that. Like that's the thing.
Oh, breaking news. Andrew Gillum announces plans to enter rehab for alcohol abuse.
There you go.
For fucking meth abuse.
Yeah, I was going to say wrong substance.
Or gay hooker abuse.
And also, yeah, there was a Dem debate where Biden and...
I haven't watched that. I have to watch that when we get done.
Oh, that was the thing. You have Disney Plus. You need to watch Rise of Skywalker because they released it early because people are stuck inside. We can finally review that shit.
Well, I think it just ran out, but
Oh, really?
I can re-up it for like a fucking month or something. I'll have to do that.
Yeah, you gotta see what that shit show. I'm just scrolling through Twitter right now, like looking
Did we
at
have any
shit.
more comments on our shit?
I should check. I actually closed it to run things quicker. Let's see. Because I was streaming some Minecraft while we were doing it to see if that would draw any interest, and it seemed to actually.
Is this being done on D Live or on YouTube?
Run to YouTube. I don't know if I can do both at once, but you know, I tried YouTube tonight since that's where our main housing is. Yeah, this is crazy. Like, here's the other thing too, is like with the coronavirus, it's sort of the only thing everyone's talking about, you know?
Well, yeah, because it's fucking taking up their whole lives.
Yeah. Never seen anything like it.
Oh, speaking of Democrats, you see what happened with the virtual town hall from Joe Biden?
Oh god, that was such a boomer, like clusterfuck. Like, that was just an absolute calamity. Like he was like walking off like the screen at one point, like walking off set, and he had like cut to like a title graphics. I was like, oh god.
You didn't even know what fucking year it was. Like, I don't see how no, like, see if he ends up getting the fucking nomination, which I think is pretty likely now.
Oh, he's got it already, yeah.
He's gonna, like, Trump can really rip him a new one about some of this.
Yeah, I
Like,
think he can really
because, like, he literally seems like he's fucking that disorder, dementia or whatever.
yeah, I think it's really gonna his age is his biggest problem, and I think it's only gonna get worse for him.
Sign is like, see with Sanders, like he looks a lot healthier. Like he doesn't seem like he's got fucking like early stage dementia, or like middle stage dementia. I mean, Phil, you know more about fucking dementia stages, but like,
Yeah. I seeing the debate though, like I was watching the Steven Crowder debate stream, and I saw Bernie said something like they were questioning each other, and then Bernie was like, "You should go and look on the YouTube," and I'm like, "The YouTube? What are you?" Never mind.
what it's fucking like, see that stuff, that's fine, but like when you start like not know like giving the wrong person like thank you for my nomination to the Senate, or thank you to the not like we're voting for this other guy who's not me for president, or Trump, you know, Trump's gonna beat us. Like literally admitting that shit.
Oh,
That's
like
pretty.
here's the thing: is like when he's in a debate against Trump, like right now nobody really pounces on his goof ups, but when he has Trump there, every time he goofs, Trump is just gonna pounce on it and rip him and just be a savage with it. He's gonna savage him in a debate.
I think they're gonna try to. I think they're really gonna try to like. Um, I think these mainstream media networks are really gonna try to like camouflage their questioning or whatever, just to try to keep Trump at bay. Because
Yeah,
like I think they'll tip Joe off on the questions, and then they'll kind of
yeah, like they
keep.
did with
Even if they
Hillary.
do, he's gonna fuck it up because he's
Yeah,
literally.
but he's not gonna fuck it up as much. That's the thing. Like they know. I think they know that he's a sinking shit. I think they know he's gonna fuck it up. So they're gonna try like hell to like at least make Joe fuck up less, or give like set Donald Trump up for failure to where Joe doesn't look as bad.
Oh
But I
yeah,
mean, he'll still look bad, but he just won't. Like if they can keep it kind of equal looking, maybe Joe stands a chance. Because like as it stands right now, it's looking pretty bad.
I don't know. I'm not trying to switch topics here, but I don't know if you guys knew about this yet. All restaurants and bars in New York City will be closed for
Mhm.
8 weeks.
Oh, that's fuck that.
8.
well, they already did that in like
Oh,
Ohio and a couple other states.
Dude, they closed down Bourbon Street. Oh, that is a fucked scenario right there.
Oh, they're gonna have some issues.
Mid March, you're gonna close Bourbon Street mid March. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Like, there's gonna be fucking riots, I think, the next few weeks.
I think people are gonna start to go crazy. Cause I'm not gonna lie, around when the Penn State, I'm pulling a bind. The Penn State, when Penn State said they were closing, and it was a lot of things were going on that day. Like I had to help my girlfriend with something really important, and that announcement was coming, and I like right when that hit, I was wondering like all the things that are changing now. How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? Because there's something like classes where I'm just like, okay, professors will figure that out. But you know, you start to go a little crazy, just a tiny, 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 tiny bit, and I don't know if it's the stress or if it's the worry, the fear, the hysteria, whatever you want to call it. You get a little, if you don't quite feel like yourself, and I think there's going to come a breaking point where people are so sick and tired of this that this new normal isn't, it's kind of driving them insane. And I think some people are going to go a little crazy, and I think you're going to see some really crazy things happen. I don't know what. I don't.
No, I think there's gonna be rioting. Like, once they start like closing all these, some people are used to like living this remote life. Some people aren't.
Well, when people can't get certain things, it's like the Joker said, when the chips are down, civilized people will eat each other. And, that's what you kind of see with these. I mean, these stores will probably restock, I guess. I think they will be. But what if they didn't? What if something stops that? I mean, people would go nuts.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Like, we have a really weird future ahead of us. Like, it's really dystopian in a way. It's really, like I said, something like out of a movie. It's crazy. One thing this is totally off topic, but nobody's mentioned really anywhere because of the coronavirus. But right around this time, r slash the Donald on Reddit has been totally like something weird happened to it where like the mods, I don't know if there were like some fake shill mods in there, and so they had to kind of do some extreme vetting on their mod team. I don't know if Reddit or somebody else was putting them in there, but now nobody uses the sub anymore for some reason. I forget why, but like I'm looking at like for the past few days you just see 12, 13 days old, and so they had to put stuff on a brand new website. Like it's pretty crazy what happened to r slash the Donald.
I don't know. It's fucking Reddit. I don't trust Reddit.
I don't
Yeah.
either, but it was a big community of almost 800,000 people subscribed to it. It was very influential, and dude, it's crazy what Reddit did to it. What did you read that statement, by the way, that CCSG released, that was actually a statement from Penn State on updating the refunds?
Yeah, I saw. Which one was that? Was it, when was it made?
Oh, did I not post this? I might not have posted this, sorry.
Was this today?
Yes, this was
I did
today.
not see that one out thing.
Yeah, read it carefully, but this is what they said. It sounds like it's a statement from Penn State.
Receiving inquiries, we understand the concern. Want students and families to know we will do this. That may take different forms to be determined. Currently, all right. Well, that's not going to help you.
Yeah, this fall 2020 credit bullshit.
Following, once we have more certainty, we will determine the proceed as this virtual transfer for me, a financial emergency for some students in need. Since I encourage to talk to these people. Yeah, you need to go and start bringing get like your fucking graduating class, get in on this, because they should, like, you guys, like, that's not going to help you
Yeah, that's what
unless you
people
want
are
to go
saying in
back
the
to Penn State
comments.
for one more semester, which
Hey, maybe. Yeah, that's the one. Like, there's so many comments in here saying that. Yeah, I know they mentioned different options, but fall 2020 credits doesn't work for graduating students. All this refund stuff just sounds like universities making it more complicated than it needs to be. Either refund students the money or don't. Yeah. And look, I'll be patient, but like again, Penn State needs to be communicating better.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to go through like fucking CCSG to go and get this stuff. They should be sending out mass emails.
And they don't even need to really even necessarily say what their solution is. Just say, look, we know this is your concern. We understand that, and we're going to look into it and find a solution. You got to pace and lead. You got to you got to kind of go with the flow that we're on here. Get on our wavelength.
Yeah, like, I don't know. You guys need to like fucking have a protest. Like a fucking mass protest of your graduating class.
Dude, I could see if graduation ceremonies are canceled, there will be riots, and I will probably join them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it fucking makes sense. Like, with what you guys have had to deal with. I couldn't blame you guys because this is honestly something they need to be doing stuff quicker. Like, the way that they've been handling these things has been frankly asinine and childish. And they need to go and like start really talking dollars and cents.
Well, it feels like
Like, stop.
they really don't care about the students. That's what really annoys me. It's like, oh well, fuck you. Deal with it.
Look, no, I get there's a major virus out there, but a lot of people, this is their last semester.
Yeah, exactly. I love these memes though that people have made, like the one with the Willow Preacher. It says the Willow Preacher showing up on Monday and it's an empty house. There's some spicers in here.
Well, see, maybe maybe you can go to grad school.
I don't want to spend it. I want to finish what I started. It's not Kylo Ren, but I do want to finish what I started at Penn State, complete the mission, and then move on. I don't want to do any more school after this. I want to cause chaos in the real world. If any other Penn Staters are watching the stream, please comment below because I'm feeling your pain. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely insane what's happening. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know if we're gonna see anything quite like this again in our lifetimes. We might see worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about.
It's the economic impact that's really concerning me.
Yeah, no, did we ever get any more comments?
Nope.
How many people did we have watching us at peak?
It says we currently have 2 viewers. If you are listening or watching this show right now, please comment. We would love to interact with you. Genuinely. I know we're both getting a bit tired and probably going to log off soon, but we can go for a little more. What's your work? Actually, how has this been affecting your work?
So starting not this week, not like we're gonna have like 2-week work from home shifts.
Are they starting this week?
For some people, they're staggering it.
See, here's the thing. I'm surprised by that because I've been hearing from multiple people that this week is one of the most critical periods. That's why they've been shutting all shit down. Is because apparently that's when I guess either the peak happens or the time when this shit can spread really badly. I'm almost surprised PNC isn't doing remote.
Hey, don't mention that.
Oh, yeah.
You have to edit that.
You didn't hear that. Yeah, we can edit these live streams. It's all good.
Yeah, no, but yeah, we have a certain. Well, no, like they're staggering it. Like some people, I think might be completely remote, but due to the nature of what I do over here, you know, we realistically probably could be doing some of this completely remote. Like they do it in 2-week shifts. Like our building's secure enough where it's not going to be a major risk.
Nike's closing all their U.S. retail stores.
Well, like for retail and stuff, for like shoes, that makes sense. But like for Walmart and stuff, that's gonna be an interesting case study.
Mm,
They're gonna be
I guess they're
having,
considered somewhat essential.
yeah, like Nike, not as much, but like Walmart, yeah.
Well, we were at the Sheets today, and I have to give them some credit. Like they were literally right when we were leaving, a guy came out and was wiping the door handles with um a getting tired, so I'm forgetting terms. God, what would they call those wipe things? The
Lysol wipes or
Lysol
something.
wipes. Yeah, he was wiping it down. And they were doing a pretty good job of keeping things clean. That's what I do admire about this country. Is like in China, they have to do this authoritarian social crack. This, well, not social. It's an authoritarian, you know, brutal mandate of everything. Whereas here, we have a lot of social volunteer, um, you know, uh, courtesies and whatnot, which are really nice.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something pretty
Also,
nice people have to do that.
isn't it a bit odd that Bill Gates has stepped down
Oh,
from
it's not just
Microsoft?
him. Like, there's been a ton of CEOs who have stepped down. Like,
Really? Who else?
there was, I think it was like over like 1,000 CEOs leaving these past couple weeks.
Because
That
Bill.
Gunner guy, he like mentioned about that. I'm not really sure what's going on, but like a lot of like, and I don't think Bill Gates was really the CEO either.
Well,
He
no, he
was still
wasn't a
involved,
CEO. He was like on the board of
but he had
Microsoft.
there's been a bunch of CEOs who've been leaving. I don't know if it's because the stock prices just took a massive tumble or what's going on with that.
I
But
wonder if they know something we don't, and they see something bad coming.
well, I think like a lot of times, if you go and see this as becoming a potential issue, like if you're CEO level, like and you're working, like you get paid mostly in like stocks and like you have certain metrics that you have to meet. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess that like if there's economic downfall is really not be great for.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be it, or there could be something.
You said Gunner posted this?
Yeah,
I'll go on Facebook. I'm live streaming my screen here so people can see it. Let's look up Gunner. What was his name? Like Gunner Thord?
Thor or Son or Thunderson.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was.
He's an interesting guy. I agree with him on some things. I just kind of mixed bag.
What was that?
I He's an interesting guy. I agree with him on some things and disagree with him on some things. But
Mm,
at least he's a genuine. I guess he's gonna be a politician now. I don't know what's going on with him. Like, see, he'd be someone interesting to get on here.
I'm gonna have to add him as a friend first. Let's see. Yeah, the thing about face masks is funny because I don't get it. Like some people say you shouldn't wear them because it just prevents the spread of the virus. It doesn't prevent you from contracting it.
And that's the point. Prevent the spread.
Yeah, but like why are some places encouraging everybody to wear them?
I think they're afraid to go and tell everyone to because like it'll create another run for face masks.
Netflix suspends production of all TV shows and movies. Oh my god.
They say smoke them if you got them.
Hmm. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, he said, yeah, he posted something that says CEOs of all these companies stepped down within a month. Disney, Bayer, MasterCard, Victoria's Secret, Salesforce, Hulu, Uber Eats, IBM, MGM Resorts, LinkedIn. Um, okay, the Disney one though, that was Bob Iger, but that was quite a while ago. That was I don't even know if we even knew what the coronavirus was then.
When was it?
Let me find out. We can live fact check.
So I think this was going around since like December in China.
Well, it sounded like, according to Bannon, there were some pretty big reporters that were going and investigating this shit like pretty early. Like this was again. There's like a lot of insider talk we really don't know. Let's see. Oh fuck! He stepped down February 25th. Wow. Yeah, he stepped down as CEO on February 25th, but he's still gonna be on Disney's board till like December 2021. Dude, that's freaky. Freaky. And Trump did test negative for coronavirus. So he was on 60 Minutes tonight. Was it more coronavirus stuff? Yeah, coronavirus. Driverless trucks. Yeah, we're having another coronavirus thing next week. Jesus. Unbelievable. Well, I guess we should cut the stream now. I think we've blabbered on for a long, long time. So, yeah, we will keep you guys up to date. This was the first episode of Real News Quarantined, and we're going to keep doing these as we are still stuck in the situation we are. This could go on for a long time, honestly, so we're gonna, and there's still more development, so we'll keep pumping these out as we learn more things. But I guess I gotta kill the stream.
Alright, let me know when it's killed, and then I'll talk about some things.
Some confidential things.
Alright.
But yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. This was definitely a really cool stream, and I think everybody will enjoy it. We will keep these posted frequently and often.